Hello, everyone. We are here for the first live Dead Air podcast. Didn't expect that, did you? 10K special. We've got the intro courtesy of Mosifa, who's put his hard work and effort into making that bad boy. It's finally ready, Blank. It's finally ready. How sick?
Mate, it looks awesome. I'm so excited to have it. Mosifa's done a great job. Thank you, Mosifa. Big plays from him. But yeah, we're live. We're on air. This is crazy. First podcast actually just straight out to you guys. Thoughts off the top of the dome. We're not cutting everything out every 2 seconds like we did that anyway. We didn't because we wouldn't take it. We wouldn't take it every time.
I don't think we've ever actually cut anything out of any of the podcasts. I think there was only one. There was only one, which was the very first one we ever did when we were in Saudi, and we it was like 5 a.m. and we'd been working the whole day. We were very heat deprived and tired. Well, no, we had enough heat. We were very tired. So that was the only one. Otherwise, we leave everything in. But there you go. You get a little flavour.
Did you leave the bit in where I went to get my food from the room service?
No, we jump cut that one. We did jump cut that one. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Those are the two edits when I was so hungry. When your hotel food arrived. And it sounded like a small alarm was going off because they were ringing the bathroom phone.
Yeah, they were upset. It's because so what I'd done is I'd unplugged all the phones in the room to set up like an Ethernet connection.
Well, yeah, as you do, yeah.
Well, one of them didn't work, so I unplugged the one by the bed and I unplugged the one by the desk, and that one worked. Never replugged the one by the bed, so it's only the bathroom one that went off. So it's just mega echoing. It was bad. It was really bad.
Oh, mate. I mean, like, I don't know why, but that is the go-to strat. It's like any time you're in a hotel room for an esports, you do the immediate classic. Find you find the do not disturb sign.
Oh, you slam that. Yeah.
You do not disturb the door. You don't want anyone coming in. You know, you're going to be sat there with a weird sleeping pattern, casting video games all day, probably trying to play video games in the bedroom. Like, you're not going to want to have random hotel people coming in and out. So that's step one. Step two is bring your own Ethernet cable ahead of time. If you fail to do that, you go and find where the phones for the hotel are plugged in. You disconnect the Ethernet cable that the hotel phones use.
You disconnect all of them.
Use that bad boy, because then they can't ring you and bother you whilst you're trying to sleep at weird times. But you can use the Ethernet. And normally most hotel Ethernets are vastly better than their public Wi-Fi.
Yeah. It kind of do. Basically, what you've described is like the Call of Duty meme, which is going dark. Essentially what I do every time that I get to a hotel. Is
exactly. Bravo 2-6, this is Alpha Squad.
Going dark. Yeah, I'm uncontactable inside the hotel room. Do you also have the trouble with the bed sheets, though? That's the real question.
I hate hotel bed sheets. I hate how...
why they tuck them in so hard?
They tuck them in so aggressively. But normally, do you know how, like, if your sheets in general, you kind of use the legs, power of the legs to, like, lift them up. And you're like, oh, I get a breeze. They reset. It's fine. You've got to tussle. You have to tussle with them. Like, they're tucked. But they're not just tucked. They're under. They're, like, fully under. Like,
I'm not strong enough. I'm not strong enough. Yeah, my legs can't do it. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel like a weakling. I'm there just struggling like a small baby, just swaddled in the sheets, and I'm like trying to kick them. I can't do it, and then I have to concede and actually get out of the bed and tear it through with my hands, and even that's not easy. So that's a real frustrating experience at 1 a.m. But anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the Dead Air podcast, the 10K. For everyone who's just joined recently, hello, nice to see you. There's no games going on right now. We do have games later though. Which kind of much later. So for the NA crowd, this one goes out to you, and it also goes out to my ruined sleep schedule after this point. But yeah, it's been pretty fun. It's been pretty awesome. We hit 10,000 followers on Twitter, 10,000 subs on YouTube. So we're ever grateful to everyone here because you guys are kind of the OGs. And if there's any new people joining, thank you. You get to join the new masses that listen to the podcast. But we really do appreciate everyone that listens to the podcast because this is kind of the humble beginnings. This is where it started.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that today. I went for a walk, and I was thinking it's funny because obviously what we did first is I was making the patch note videos, done it for Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And then Valve noticed that And we started doing the podcast because we were like, oh, it'd be cool to have obviously an environment where we can both talk about it. Because at the time, it was very limited in scope, right? You couldn't talk to many people about Deadlock. It was like Fight Club. Like only if you were in could you have someone to chat about with it. So me and you were away at an event, and we kind of made like a scuffed podcast of just like 3 hours of us reading patch notes and giving our thoughts. And people liked it. And we were like, oh, okay, well, that was fun. We could refine that and do more of it. And then obviously you were making your own videos. Gamp was doing
little freaky stuff.
Yeah. And then we all just sort of thought, well, what if we just put everything together? Like everything we're doing separately as one synonymously branded thing and kind of have a bit more thought process behind everything. And that's how Dead Air was born, really, which feels weird when you think about the fact that was only about a month ago. I think we did the Scuffed podcast in late June, early May. I want to say maybe very early May. And then Dead Air popped up a little bit after that. And then we've been around doing stuff ever since. It's all gone very rapidly. Thank you so much. It feels weird, obviously. I think podcast 2, we were having like we've just hit 100 subs moment.
Dude. Yeah. That was funny.
Now we've hit 10K. We're actually nearly at 11K followers on Twitter as of about 10 minutes ago as well, which is mental. So it's actually become like the 11K, 10K special unintentionally. So thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, 100%. We don't have any sponsors just yet, Liminic. No, we're still looking into it. I mean, we've not reached out to anyone. You know, we're just kind of running with the tides. I think we've had a couple of things in the works, which is nice, and we're glad that people are interested in Dead Air. So hopefully soon, maybe soon. I mean, the whole Dead Air tournament, though, you know, Red Bull's involved with that, which is really cool. We might have some other surprises for that one too. But yeah, I think it's all going very, very well at the moment. I appreciate that. Yeah, cool. So I need to make a new intro for 11K. That's right, Mostafa. Get back on it. Back to work.
Every time, every iteration of. But yeah, so the plan is obviously today, bit of a 10K special. We'll do a live podcast, the first live Dead Air. Obviously, we said in the last podcast that we do one, and then it's come around before even the end of the week. So here we are. There's an abundance of Dead Airs that are currently being cooked up. There's an unreleased, like, Lost episode at the minute, which is being finished, which features Lamerite, which obviously we've teased before. Yeah. That one's getting some extra time in the oven because there's a lot that has gone into that one.
So actually, I've been working on that one today, and do you know what I found, Jacky?
What?
There's a whole section at the end. Lamerite is yapping. He's yapping so much, unfortunately. But you know all about that because you're in the Discord with him all the time. But yeah, there's a problem where there's some footage I recorded at the end, and the footage just broke. So. Okay. I have to reach back out to Lamerite.
Get him to film some of it again.
Get him to film it.
Okay, right. Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure we can do that.
Yeah. But it's only like a 5-minute clip, but I feel like it's a very important 5 minutes.
There was a lot of context, Everything we discussed in that episode, it's probably the most visual podcast ever. Like, you do probably need to watch it. So it's a good thing we include the video track on even the Spotify version as well. So yeah, it'll be good. There was a lot of fun stuff. It's funny as well because obviously in that podcast, we filmed it, I think, about a week and a half ago now, a little bit longer. We were discussing the fact that, you know, Lamerite was saying, like, Green Lane is real and all these voice lanes are getting added. Like, Green Lane's going to be coming in at some point. Pretty sure it's going to be called Greenwich. You know, here's all the reasons why. Went through everything. And then obviously this patch, we get Green Lane coming in. Orchard's gone. I thought that was interesting as well because now we basically I backed up the map file for it just in case, because in my head I was like, oh, well, you know, in like 10 years from now, when they're making like iceberg videos and stuff like that, you ever seen those where people will be like, the SpongeBob iceberg, you know, like surface layer, like, is Patrick Star actually a starfish?
Right,
weird conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
I mean, but the deeper down the iceberg you go, the weirder it gets. So I'm thinking that's going to happen to Deadlock. You'll have people in like 10 years' time that will be like, what do you mean Orange Lane? What do you mean Orchard? It's not real.
Orange Lane exists, right? What?
Yeah, exactly. So while I've had footage, I've got that backed up just in case. 10 years from now, we need to go back and be like, look, there it is, Orchard Lane.
I like that. Yeah, I was there for Orange Lane Deadlock. It's funny because there's a lot of things like that. where if you go far enough back, it's like things you can be. I was around when Deadlock was only on NA. That's the only place I could play. That's just so many cool little things.
I remember the week when we had 2 soul learns.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that.
Double soul learn week. Yeah.
There was no hole in the top of mid, right? It was literally like a little treasure chest, and you would hand one of the urns in there. It was crazy.
Punch them. You just run to mid, double soul earned, like double soul earned up, one in each arm.
It was
smashing it to bits.
It was like a mega bro moment as well. It's like both of you are bringing the urn together at the same time. You do like a little high five at the treasure chest in the center. You know, you pat each other on the back. You'd punch each other's souls. That sounds weird, but yeah, that's how it worked.
Mate, you doing anything on Thursday? No, I'm free. Do you want to come round and punch each other's souls? Yeah, pencil it in.
Pencil it in.
Why not?
Let me do some.
I'm not doing anything today.
I could do some spectral battering on you if I quite like.
Mate, it's so mad. I'm trying to think of what some of the other weird changes were.
Damp's put a good one. There's the froggy legs on the urn.
Frog legs on the soul urn.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of like Elden Ring, that though, more than anything.
It does a bit. I almost feel like it should be more exaggerated, where rather than them being little froggy legs, there should be 4, one on either side, like, you know what I mean? And then make them beefy. So it is like huge frog legs.
Question to you.
Big leg.
Big legs. Question to you. Have you filmed the urn returning to its original starting place?
It doesn't use the legs.
It doesn't use the legs. That's
I think it's
sad.
just a placeholder. Because it's
it's
very inconsistent. Because weirdly, I've realised this today because I'm still, for anyone that's been asking, patch notice is coming, being cooked. We're busy. A lot of random bits going on, the podcast, the other random stuff, the Deadlock Core tournament tonight. Stuff's just been taking time. But patch notice is coming, don't worry. With that, I noticed they've already slipped in some changes to the old froggy leg. Because in the initial release of it, when it was coming down from the, like beam of blue soul light where it gets dropped off, it just had non-textured all black little frog legs that would be at the bottom of the urn.
Oh, right, okay.
But it wouldn't be present as it was coming down the animation. It wouldn't be present when it dropped it off. They'd just despawn, and it would just be the usual soul urn. As of today, when I've logged in, after a couple like hot fixes, it has textured, the same texture as the soul urn frog legs that are there, even when it's not picked up. So it's getting tweaked a bit, but I don't think it has any of its animations or anything like that yet. I think they're still messing with it, basically. But obviously, that's what they've gone for. Yeah, no scurrying animation.
Yeah, most were saying that once they start to completely replace all the character models, I mean, that'll be a big point. And I mean, that is coming. I imagine in the future. I think a lot. Yoshi's already said, and again, Yoshi sort of speaks for the entirety of the dev team, who are great, by the way. Right? I think a lot of people give Yoshi credit, and he deserves it, absolutely. But to get this kind of stuff done at the speed at which they're doing it, there's got to be a good team there behind him, supporting him. So shout out to the unknown faces of Deadlock, are really just working hard behind the scenes, even the art team. Because Yoshi's just like, I need me some small frog legs, rendered up, stat. Why, Yoshi, why? Give them to me now.
Put the frog legs in. ASAP.
Put the frog legs on the urn. That's got to be that must be a weird thing for like if you're on the art team and someone just comes in and be like, put the frog legs on the urn. Do it. Because I'm not sure how I'd react to that personally.
I don't know, dude. It is an interesting one. I was just tweaking some settings quick, but it is an interesting one because I think there's a lot of that kind of stuff in Deadlock where from patch to patch you kind of get quite drastic changes in certain ways, and so some of them are very cool, but you imagine they are obviously a bit awkward for the devs to kind of bake a lot of it in. Another one of the ones that I really like though in that vein, when we're talking about obviously you had the frog legs on the urn. I do like the new fans because you see, I remember telling you about it, right? Where I was like, I didn't think the bounce pads were very. I liked the bounce pads mechanically, but I didn't like how they looked, how they felt. It all felt a bit weak, not really like it had much propulsion to it, or like, it was kind of gritty enough. It just felt a bit silly compared to the other stuff in the universe. But the fan blades are actually really nice. I think they make a lot more sense because the way you get flung, it's not as if you can use the bounce pads to go into different directions. It was always one set path. So the fan blades make sense because they have a visible air trails. You know where you go and before you even jump on it, even if it's the first time you've ever used it. And they look super cool as well. Like, you look at them and it's like, oh, that looks sick, actually. It's like, it's got the little deadlock insignia on the top of the fan blades, on the grate.
I think a lot of people clocked that, actually. Yeah, I think that was cool because when you posted that, I was like, look at that, Jacky's been working hard. He's been zooming in. He's been looking at all the things, which is like a nice touch. And I think that when you were talking about it, it's like, because they were a old asset from Holiday's kit where her ability was to place down bounce pads, and that's what they looked like, were the ones that you used in game. But I think that it was literally you saying that they don't look thematically right, which they didn't. So changing them to fans looks a bit more steampunky, which is sort of the vibe we're going for here with like all the puppeteer arms and all that stuff. Yeah, it makes sense. I like it. Hello, Colaris. How are you doing? Can't wait to see the other half of Jacky's face. Look, man, he's a leaner. He likes to lean. Leave him alone.
You can't lock me down. You can't lock me down, James. I'm always on the move. You never know where I'm going to be.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, they were.
You could just leave the podcast and I'll be left alone. Who knows? Could slink off any moment. Don't do it, please. I'll need my boy.
No, don't worry.
Big gamers, Lady Geist, practicing.
Oof.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Getting the hours in.
Yeah. I mean, Lady Geist is fun. And there were actually some bans coming out from recent tournaments. I think it's purely because team fight wise, she's super strong. Unfortunately, in lane, she's not always the best unless you hit your shots, which I think a lot of people at the high level can. But if you can coordinate the lane properly. So, for instance, I think even, oh my god, probably like 2 months ago when I made the locked in laning video for Paradox, which is still unreleased, by the way. I should re-release that somehow at some point. But in that video, I was saying that there's specific combos like Lady Geist 7, which are incredibly difficult to play against because they've got such crazy lane clear. But that's stuff that needs to be coordinated. But you could do it with a duo easily enough. And that's a fun lane to play. Hello, Jocelyn Awakens. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, hello to everyone on YouTube as well. By the way, we're live on both. We got some of the homies hanging out. Do I need to pull up the
other chat?
You can. I've got them both open.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Deadlock here.
But hello, everyone. I appreciate everyone hanging out on both platforms. Whatever's convenient for you, whatever you enjoy.
You like a YouTube, you like a Twitch.
Yeah,
you know.
That's what I mean. You give people the option. It's always nice. Give people the option.
Jank is good. I think we were set on Jank. Jank's kind of sick. That or Blanky, something like that.
Yeah, that was consistent for a while. We had that a lot. Blanky, big Blanky. Keep me warm. Oh, we've done that bit a few times. It's funny.
Yeah, I like that one. Jank's also good. If we're having a bad day, we can just say Jank was what arrived. Honestly, you paid for Jank.
When can I subscribe, angry face? I don't know. We have all the stats to do it. We just need to stream more because it just happened so quick because it was only 3 days worth of broadcast. By the end of the week, I guess, would be my prediction.
Yeah.
End of the week, probably.
End of the week. I'll probably do some, what's it called? Some streaming. I'll do some streaming of my games.
In the garden.
What mangas have I read recently? I think Free Ren was the one I read most recently. It's really good. The light novels are actually crazy awesome. I think like the anime is really, really sick. And I watched all the anime, cried about 1,000 times. But yeah, the light novels are also really, really, really good. And they look pretty. They're not actually behind me right now. I've got all like the favorites behind me at the moment. But I will put Free Ren in there somewhere at some point.
I listened to the entire first and second Garth Marenghi audiobook. So I've had all of those. Incarcerat was pretty good. It was very different. That's the second. That's his latest of the books.
Yeah. Those are unhinged, though.
No, it was. And I tell you, so for Incarcerat, the whole sentiment of the book is basically like, he explains that at this point in the storyline, he's realized that he's like gaining telekinetic power by becoming a pilot, because every time a plane crash happens, he always like just takes it on the chin and like brushes himself off and survives. But because it's such a like traumatic event where there's like all this death and everything, that it like helps his ability to control his telekinetic powers and like all this. So I'm on a flight home, and I've gone, I'll start listening to the second Garth Marenghi book. This will be good. I'll put this on. And when I started playing through it, I was waiting to board the plane. And I'm kind of like listening to the plot and thinking, where's this one going to go? Because they're all a bit weird. By the time the plane's taking off, we've gotten to the point where he's saying, like, I've become a captain who specifically has to crash planes again and again to increase my psychic powers. There was a whole chapter for about an hour and a half in which this plane was going down whilst I was on the plane going home. And at the climax of it all, when this plane crashed, I was just about to land. And luckily, I didn't crash in real life. You didn't
die. Yeah,
I survived. Yeah.
That is... I think we're missing some context on Garth Marenghi.
Wait, see, the thing is about Garth Marenghi. So for the quick summary, this is book 2 of Garth Marenghi's works. They're tomes of books. Basically, this one was called Incarcerat, and it's all themed around the idea of like being incarcerated. So there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on. Like people are trapped in their own minds. There's like a naughty flasher man who was murdered by being drowned in a park toilet, and he like gets in your dreams, and he'll get you in your dreams.
In your dream space. That's not cool.
But he's like come into the real world because they were making a machine that brings dreams into reality, basically.
That's wild.
So yeah, it all gets a bit mental. It all gets a bit catastrophic by the end of the book. One of the chapters is also he does a storyline about basically he moves to a town where no one knows how to read, and they can't read. They hate reading, and that's because there was an author that used to live there who wrote like a series of horror novels, and they like got rid of him, I think, and they killed him off and hid these horror novels so it could never happen. Garth Marenghi's character, who is also an author in the book, he moves to the town and buys the house, and then inside of the space of the book, basically, they will get really upset because it's like, oh, it's an author, and they just love cress sandwiches. They're always eating cress and sandwiches.
Right.
And he gets given a doll by an old lady, and now this old lady gives him the doll, and she's like, oh, here you are, dear, take this. And the doll basically like keeps vomiting up ink, like Victorian ink. And everyone in the town's turning into brown paper bags because of the ink from the doll. This is all verbatim, like this is what happens in the book. And there's like a whole uprising because he tries to steal the books and pass them off as his own. You see, he wants to use those books as his own work so he doesn't have to write anything because he's having a bit of writer's block at the time.
That's crazy.
The ghost of the author's daughter, who is living inside of the Victorian doll, starts to turn everyone into brown paper bags. And he luckily escapes at the end by getting away in his car from the town.
That's
there you
awesome.
go, Garth Marenghi, book 2. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. First book's pretty good. Second book's pretty good. I think the first one clears the second one ever so slightly, I'd say.
Yeah.
But they're all very abstract, weird stories. The premise is effectively, imagine a story that could be summed up in about 5-6 sentences, but somehow it gets dragged out to around 3 hours because it's just so weirdly written.
Yeah.
By nature. But they're really good. If you haven't heard them, I'd recommend it. I think it's called Terratome. Garth Marenghi's Terratome. You can get them an audiobook for those of you that prefer to read with your ears.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That was a time and a half. Well, tomes wise, the only thing I can't even top that. I mean, the only tomes that I've read recently, which are not really tomes, just Solo Leveling, because that seems a bit more up my alley, really. What I will say is that season 2 needs to come out soon. If you've not seen that, Jack, you should watch it. Very good.
Solo Leveling.
Solo Leveling. It's really good. Yeah.
I've heard of it. I think I've heard rumblings of it, but no.
Yeah, you should watch Solo Leveling. It's absolutely awesome. So good. The main character is so edgy,
Right.
and moody, and so much plot armor. So good. So good. I think it's like probably one of the greatest that's come out recently, honestly. Because a lot of these new ones are like they're all using. This has become like an anime book stream. What's going on? But all the new animes, they're all using 3D animation, right? And I'm not a huge fan of it. Yeah, I don't like it. This one's more like 2D. This just goes back to basics on 2D.
Yeah, I quite enjoy a bit of a hybrid of the two. I think if you're going to mix it, like how some of the older Pokemon movies did, where it'd be like all 2D for the series. Yeah. You get a movie and it's like, whoa, oh shit, that town, that's 3D, but in a cool way.
Yeah, you have to do it for some stuff. I don't like it when it's like used on mass. Oh my god, this is like we're really going deep. Like, I don't know if anyone's seen Overlord, but like
the hit PlayStation 3 video game.
That one's also good.
A demon in control. But that was actually a banging game, by the way. Overlord. It was
2.5D like Treasure Planet. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you're right. 100%. That's like a good example. That's kind of like has the best of both worlds. Overlord on PS2 was so good. I played so much of that. Yeah. I think it was ported to Xbox, no?
Yeah, because they dropped Overlord 2, which was on PS3, which was a snowy theme where there was a new Overlord that was born.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good. Overlord 1, incredibly good. I think there's a remaster on PC you can play, but if you've never played it, Overlord is sick. I liked all the little demons. Yeah, how they it's the Overlord. It's like, yeah.
Minions. So good. Yeah.
It was sick. It's a really, really good game, actually. Super sick. Like Pikmin, but for demons.
Yeah. What about Overlord the anime? That's what I'm saying. Overlord the anime. Like 3D. So you want to know more. So the 3D stuff.
Why was that like Starship Troopers? Would you like to know more? The 3D stuff like the big armies. I just got back again. Fair enough, bro. No worries. There's Mr. Lamright himself. But yeah, so when they do like the big armies that come across, like for instance the Lizardmen. Why do I remember this so detailed? But like the Lizardmen were all done in 3D, and it just kind of ruined the vibe for me. If you go back to stuff like the 19, I think it was 19. Let's see, Berserk is 2000s or it was the 90s. 1989. There's no way it was made in 1989. It was 1997, 1998. I thought it was those dates. But yeah, those ones were really 97. Thank you, the Prime Sloth. But yeah, those were really good. Like the way they did like the big scenes with them, with like all the armies, so cool. Really enjoyed that. I think that's probably one of my favorite like movies series. Cinematic would be cool as well for Deadlock. I agree with that, Icy. I think Deadlock will have very cool lore to it in terms of cinematics when it comes out. I think it's one of those where already you get little bits of it. We're being like drip fed it with the player interactions and like some of the visual storytelling and stuff. But Valve's writing is just something else. Like, there's something about the way they tell stories and the way they write characters that I think it's gonna really pop off.
If you make up some lore right now, Jacky, can you make up some lore?
Yeah, sure.
Do some lore.
Okay.
Do some lore.
Here's what we'll do. So I'll start a sentence and you have to keep it going, all right? So that's how we're going to do it. We just have to keep going. Now, this is 100% canon. This is 100% real, all right? So we'll do it like this. We'll come in and we'll set the scene like this. So imagine this is like a voiceover that's playing when you look at one of the characters in games. A short story about Deadlock. So you've just sat down at your PC and the curtains have been pulled back. Imagine like a Simpsons-style intro. But rather than saying The Simpsons in the clouds, it says Deadlock. We pan down, past a patron, and then it goes, A Fate's Tale, Jacob Lash. And it's Lash. He's at a bar, dingy bar. It's worn out, run down, bit of a dive bar, but he loves it. And Lash goes, I've always loved these places. I love dive bars. And as he does that, someone takes it a bit literally and dives over his head. And he glances up. It's Bebop, livid, absolutely livid. He's looked at him and he's gone, kind of scrunching up his face. He's never liked Bebop. And the fact that he's come into his favorite dive bar and just dove over his head like some kind of robot dickhead, Lash is fuming. Lash has glanced at him. He's given him one look. He's pointed at himself like this. And he's pointed at Bebop like that. And then he went, nah. Where's it go from here then?
Is that it?
Yeah, that's what I've given. That's the intro. That's what I've given you. Now you take it from here.
That's what you're giving me.
Yeah. I've set the scene. I've given you some lore.
So Bebop has dived across the bar front, right? He's knocked over. And he's only just noticed this actually is Lash. It's this whiskey jar. It's over. The nice spherical ice cube that was just made to him by the robotical bartender is now just strewn across the floor. So what Lash has done is he said no. He's had enough of this. And he gets up. He walks across the room and he squares up to Bebop. Bebop this day, you know, he doesn't have his big spiked fist with him. You know, that's been retrofitted just with another normal hand, right? Just for your day-to-day activities. You're not going to go around with a big old spiked mace of a fist, would you? If you want to drink some oil, you need another hand to do that. Whilst you swill it in the other hand, you know, you're switching between both. And what Lash has done, he's gone over to him and he's used the ropes that he keeps with him at all times to tie his little robotic legs together, right at the bottom. And he's gone back to his seat and he's just squeaked it back in really loudly to get Bebop's attention. Bebop's turned round slowly to have a look at him. What happens next?
Thing is, it's funny, right? Because obviously I'd usually do the robot voice for robot characters, but Bebop, it's a bit harder because it's more just Pudge from Dota. So it'd be more of a like, what have you done that for, mate? You know? What you getting the ropes out for? You been a bit kinky, Jacob?
Blows up the whole bar.
Yeah. And he's livid. Obviously, Lash doesn't like this. He's like, right. Fuming. He's visibly shaking in his chair. He's got a vein on the side of his head coming up. All he wants is a nice quiet drink.
Yeah.
He's just been trying to have a nice quiet drink for about an hour and a half. He's been in this bar. So he's looking at this Bebop, floundering around like some kind of turtle, rotating left and right, attempting to get himself off of his shell, his back, of course, onto his feet and once again be able to move, but he just can't do it. So Lash, he looks back at him, downs his whiskey in one clean swoop, slams some change down onto the counter, then he opens the door, and he looks back at Bebop, and he looks at the door, and he looks back at Bebop, and he looks at the door, and he stops for a second, he rubs his neck, and he goes, oh, I really shouldn't do that so quickly. It's kind of, I think that's put a bit of a kink in my neck, actually. It's quite painful.
Is this Jacob Lash talking, or is this you talking?
Yeah, that's what he's thinking right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of really, it's really hurt my neck, you know. I think I might have pulled something. So he walks out, leaving Bebop tied to the ground. Everyone in the bar is a bit confused, don't really understand why. They've just seen a robot man doing some sort of acrobatics. Lash has got incredibly livid. He stormed out. And as he gets outside, he steps in a puddle, covered in water. He's fuming. He's not had a good day. And at this point, you know, his neck hurts, hasn't been able to enjoy his drink, shoes are wet. It's just not gone well for Lash. So, you know, that's the thing. Remember that. Because as much as you think Lash is an arsehole, think about what he's going through on a daily basis.
He's got a bad day.
He's got wet shoes, you know. He's got a sore neck.
That's right.
It's not that easy being Jacob.
So anyway, he death slams the entire bar. And then everyone's upset with him again. Yeah. That's why he's an asshole.
He picked up the entire bar in one big loop.
Yeah.
And launched it across the streets.
It's quite a strong rope, you see. Digs underground. It's right around it like a mow. He just attaches mow to the other end, right? Maurice.
No one can dig like Maurice.
And they get the route right around the bar. That'd be good. I'd enjoy that.
That would be good. That would be good.
There's some good chat about the Seven and Kevin lore right now. I like this. Seven just hates the name Kevin. They kind of are similar, right? Seven, Kevin. Seven, Kelvin. Are we onto something right now? Are they the same guy? Who knows? But yeah. Seven is that way because they tried to execute him, but he simply went too hard. Mogged everyone. What? And Sigmund his way out of the prison. Technically true. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. He basically was too much of a threat.
Yeah.
They wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah, he went so hard during the lethal electrocution that he became electricity itself. Was Ivy the bartender? Robotical. Probably, I would say Dynamo could do some good bartending, but he's probably busy with his quantum experiments. Is Seven one of Kelvin's team who he left in the dark Arctic? I don't know, because I think that's what's going to make Kelvin's lore really cool, in my opinion, most of it, because a lot of the lore they've dropped, it's like he went out into the Arctic and he found some out there, and he doesn't remember anything else. Doesn't remember his team, doesn't remember anything like that. Infernus is canonically a bartender. True. That's why he has
the mixing jugs.
Yeah. True and real. Sorry. He's not robotical though, and I specifically said that. But yeah,
you've pinned an Abrams drinks at his bar.
I know.
Why have you done that?
Have I?
Yeah, why have you done that?
That's
a pinned message, man. There you go. Everyone enjoying it.
That was an accident.
An Abrams drinks at his bar. There you go.
Unpin this message. I tried to do it. I was like clicking and having a look and highlighting.
He's struggling.
I'm stimming. With the highlighter.
It's all right, mate. It's interesting because the thing is with Kelvin, it's basically the thing you're alluding to is the fact that it's almost like Kelvin's kind of like dead at this point, because the nature of the nature of it all with him being able to thrive under such subhuman cold temperatures in terms of how cold it can go and stuff like that.
Didn't they thaw him out of an ice cube?
Yeah, but it's like some of the stuff, the way it's worded, it makes you assume that he is dead and not normal. You know what I mean? He's not a normal human anymore at this point.
Yeah,
there's something weird going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like Kelvin. Hello. How to lower the activation passive that cooldown stuff when I make the most bully build? Ooh. Actually, this is an interesting thing. I didn't actually answer it in my items video, but a lot of cooldown reduction stuff and spirit items actually affect your other items' cooldowns, surprisingly. So there you go. It's a bit of a weird one because you kind of have to alt on a lot of the items, or at least I believe it used to be alt. I don't know if it still is now. Tab now. Yeah, so you tab on a lot of the items, and they will specifically tell you more in depth what affects what part of their kit, so what affects the cooldown, etc. So all that stuff. So interesting, very interesting stuff. So you can have a look in there and figure out what items interact in the best way, so you can have your bully build in the future. I preferred alt as well, man.
Yeah.
That is the one change that I'm not a fan of.
It's easier to touch in terms of it's closer. It was better for me with how I would level up abilities. I preferred alt. I got used to it for all the video making stuff. Tab for me is so hard ingrained into my brain that I only press it if I want to bring up a scoreboard. That's it. That's the only time my brain would ever be press tab.
Tab is scoreboard. Tab is scoreboard. Yeah.
So I think it's weird that they did it after so long, but I also think it's weird that you didn't just give people the option to have it as a default bind where you can just switch between both. Same with changing it how spacebar works as the auto default cancel, because we've been doing that for months. months, and then to randomly change it feels a bit weird. But I think this was an update that seemed to have a lot of ideas for quality of life stuff. Some of it I think is better. Some of it I think it needs some revisions, and some of it I think it's just people overreacting because it's new.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think some of the stuff in the game right now, I'm like, I think that could have been left alone.
Yeah.
For instance, the minimap stuff, I actually like a lot of the minimap stuff now that I've looked at it. I think that the icons are also cool, but they will take some getting used to. But I think that's more of a getting used to it just because it's different.
Yeah.
Alt and tab is a weird one that I'm not a huge fan of.
That I just think didn't need to be changed. That should just be rebind if you want. You know?
Like a lot, I'm clicking a lot of my abilities now, which is sort of annoying.
That's what I mean. I feel like you've broken the muscle memory for people, which will get fixed over time. But like, I would just like it put back.
Yeah. The highlights on the map made no sense compared to the tiered icons. I think this was the day I didn't play.
So when it first came out, basically, if you imagine, the Paint tool in MS Paint, there would be a glow that was sprinkled over the map in high heat areas of jungle camp spawning. So you wouldn't see exactly where they spawn or what type of jungle camp they were. Like, is it a Sinner's Sacrifice? Is it a tier 2 camp? Is it a tier 3 camp? It was just a gradient, like glow. But then, of course, they hotfixed it to add back in the tier lists and stuff like that and change it. But yeah, I think today, even looking at the current version of the new minimap, so after 2 hotfixes, is not bad at all.
Still readable. I think it is readable. I think that's the big thing, that it needs to be really quite readable. And I do think some of the icons are so high. I don't know if high res is the right word for it, but before it was very quick and easy because they were all with like the white backgrounds on it, where you'd be like, right, that's Infernus, that's Ivy, that's Geist. I don't know. There is just there's some slight disconnect. I really like the idea, and I think the flavor of it is so cool, because that's what the game's all about. It's a lot of flavor. But yeah, maybe for readability's sake.
I think for a revision 1 of the minimap, I think it's fine and it will get better. I like the contrast of the background. I don't like the fact it takes up so much more space because it is a lot bigger. I've got the size comparison, both of them. It's pretty big. But in a weird way, it feels like it takes up more space but gives you less information, which is the drawback to it. But again, that's also just... all you've got to do with that is just give people the option to turn off the border. Like, you kind of already inadvertently have. I know Lamorite has the border disabled and has even changed the shape on it already, but that's just Lamorite stuff. But yeah, I think having customization of the HUD in terms of visual noise, like turning some things off and moving locations of things, I feel like that's something that we'll get down the line with how proactive they've been about communicating about this stuff. And if memory serves, I feel like they've mentioned that's something that wouldn't be out of line for them to do at some point. Because I wouldn't mind that. I think it's like, I don't know if you guys ever really, not that many people played it because Arena FPS was pretty dead at this point, but Diabotical, basically the biggest draw to Diabotical was the fact that they gave you so much customization and you could literally move every individual HUD element wherever you wanted. You could redesign the whole thing and it was sick. No other games really have gone that deep. I think if you got something like that in Deadlock, it would be sick. It would actually really translate very well because I like that level of player freedom of like, maybe you're a bit more short-sighted or maybe like you struggle to take in all the information unless certain things are more centered so you can always have them in your eye line of your crosshair. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that I think would be really cool for Deadlock with how it plays.
I agree. There's actually one... So... I think this is the case, and Lamra will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but in his newest build, of his Wild and Crazy HUD, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go over to some of the... In fact, the Deadlock Discord, he's probably been posting in there somewhere, and you'll be able to find it in there. But he actually has... I think it's either a percentage of how close characters are to their ultimate, or it's a timer counting down. And I think that would be really, really nice to have in game, because if you're going to show the enemy team's cooldowns in terms of when their ultimates are up and ready. I think an exact timing on it would be really nice. Not having to guess, because everyone's got wildly different. So one sliver could mean 5 seconds, where for another character that could mean 15 seconds. So it's a little bit hard to predict sometimes. So I think like a percentage bar would be nice. I think that's what Lamorite has. Somehow he's coded that. I don't know how exactly, but he's got it on there.
That would be interesting. That would be really interesting. I'd love that kind of stuff. Freedom for that sort of stuff, I think, would be very interesting in Deadlock, and I imagine will come with time. I see a lot of people ask you about this, about ranked all the time. I've got no idea. I would imagine if you break it down more so in a sense of we went from you know, the game being hush private only 3 weeks ago to open servers 24/7 now,
open the floodgates
3 weeks in the future. The barrier to that is that we're still invite only, but the servers are always up. So we're getting closer to Valve being comfortable with the idea of the server capacity can support the amount of players we're hitting. But once you press that button, you can't ever turn it off again. Everyone is just in. So I think we're nearly there. Then it's just a matter of you wait until the game gets closer to being out, or at least in more of a public beta stage, rather than where it is now, where it's obviously in like a transitional stage. Because Dota 2 was in beta for like years. And I think that had ranked when it was still in beta. Memory might serve me wrong on that one. I didn't play Dota 2 that much back then. But like Dota 2 was in beta for a very, very long time. Whereas with Deadlock, it feels like you could have a similar thing, where the official release could be quite far in the future, but that wouldn't matter if the game itself, with the way it's going, is then just public and everyone can play it, and you could pop up ranked at some point. But I think that's more, you get in there, there's just stuff that's probably more important to Valve right now than ranked. That would be a more distant sort of thing that you'd be looking at.
Yeah, again, I do think that, like, I posted about it, literally posted about a month ago, maybe a month and a bit ago, where I was like, we've only got 2,000 people, there's not enough people for ranked. Funnily enough, now is like 200,000 people playing the game, which is sort of silly.
Yeah.
But there's more than enough people to get ranked working now. It's a case of putting it into the game. But if we look at the patch notes, even just this one gone, a huge amount of hero changes once again. And ranked is going to force people into metas, right? I think right now having everyone in casual means that you get a bit of everything in terms of people playing some of the underutilized heroes a little bit more because they just like them, which is fair enough. Like, for instance, I still play a bit of McGinnis now and again because I think it's hilarious placing down turrets with Echo Shot. Very, very fun. Yeah. But not enough people play McGinnis at a high enough level. But I'm that one guy. I'm that one guy amongst other McGinnis enjoyers who are currently using the McGussie to get towards the top, right? And we're creating valuable data for Valve, but that wouldn't happen if I was playing ranked, which if it came out, that's all I'd be doing. I'd be grinding ranked all day, every day, and I would probably be a very moody boy by the end of it. But yeah, they wouldn't be getting those McGinnis games.
I think it's also, there's an interesting point. So Damp did an interview with Piggy, obviously one of the winners, you know, the support legend that won in Team KLS in the Aurora Deadlock Masters event about a week ago now. She did an interview with him. Piggy was talking about, like, obviously some of the characters just aren't viable at all for competitive. And we're saying McGinnis is one of them, where like she just would need an entire rework to be a competitive character because she just doesn't work in the same way. You know, she is just a lot more of a simple character. But I was saying to Dan, but I think you have one of those in every one of these style of games. You know, like TF2, you had the engineer. The engineer role is just one of those that exists. Like Overwatch, you copy it with Torbjorn, right? Torbjorn, he was never like the most competitive, viable character, but it needed to exist because even just for the casual audience that will come in and will play it, especially with how easy Deadlock is to play and go, oh, this is fun. And you never have to go deep in that. You could stay in a bubble of just playing Deadlock casually for fun and having a super light grasp on items, super light grasp on, like, you know, how to actually use comps. You could have fun with it because it is one of those games. It's very repeatable. It's very different each time you play. You could enjoy a McGinnis in that sense and just be like, oh, I want to play a turret character, boom. That's like an archetype of people that love just playing the turret character in video games. So I think she exists in the right way for that sort of stuff.
I think that it's funny as well because some theory crafting I've been doing in my own time about this type of stuff in terms of compositions. McGuinness could work in a competitive strat, but it's a very specific one. And you're right, every character exists like that to create a specific role. Like, it's not something you play every time. Like, you've got your old reliables, like Hayes, like Rafe at the moment, both very well picked. And you'd want to have someone on your team at a competitive level on the esports side of things, if we're talking about that, where you'd be like, we've got someone who can play those characters very, very well, and they can pick them up on the games we need them to. But say you have someone with a pocket McGuinness and you play more like a turtle strat, and you're able to have like 5 or so turrets up in base at all times. I think those type of games, if you had the right composition, be almost impossible to finish, like, or at least very hard, and you could slowly just get yourself back into the game with a McGuinness basically solo holding base and split pushing for the majority of the half of the game. Yeah, it's interesting.
The problem with that is as well, though, it's just the nature of, like Piggy was also saying, the only thing is right now, it's such a funnel of the heroes that are top heavy in high MMR games, and especially competitive games like that. It's all about 15 minutes. You're kind of doing it with like the 15-minute rule of, are they strong enough viably within, minute 1 to minute 15 to win a game? Or are they someone that comes online after that? Because if so, what's the point? Because games are over so quickly. Yeah. It's never going to be beneficial. And obviously McGuinness is one of those where it feels like she's a slow cooker. She needs time.
That's and especially like you'd have to make a strat around that, but would you want to? Yeah,
that's what I mean. Is that going to win you a game in a higher percentage way? Probably not. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. We do have this here. We can head over here. Let's head here. We've got this whipped up. I've got a little tier list because I thought we could do a few different things with this here, and we could cook up some ideas. We could judge which hero we think is best right now in terms of visual style. We could do who we think is the best at making spaghetti. We could do who's actually competitively viable following the huge patch that we just got. So we've got a few options. I thought this would give us something fun to do for the 10K special.
Very nice. Let's have a look into this then. So what are we doing first? Are we doing our meme one first, or are we doing our Serioso one first?
We could do a spaghetti. We could do
spaghetti. First. Who makes the best bolognese?
So
number 1, S tier, Mo and Krill. Very easy.
You think they'd be very
we should
good
probably
at making
maybe
spaghetti?
we start from Abrams. Let's just start from Abrams.
Okay.
I've jumped the gun. I'm sorry.
I'm
stimming.
It's all right. We'll go left to right. I think Abrams would be very good at eating spaghetti. I don't know how good he would be at cooking. He doesn't strike me as much of a cooker.
No, man. He's built really big, but he's a very well-rounded man. He's a bit of a gentleman. Do you know what I mean?
Think about it, right? He's a private detective. You're going to be busy all the time. He's going to be ordering takeaway. It's going to be late nights. Like, I don't see him being the sort of guy that's at home learning how to cook, making banging dishes. I feel like his private life is very neglected. He's all about work. He's all business. He's all business for me.
He is working on getting rid of the book as well. So
I think we put him in B tier for business.
I'll give him a C tier, maybe.
C for can't cook.
C for can't cook. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you've swayed me there. C for can't cook. Put him in C. I reckon Bebop makes a mean spaghetti.
I was going to say, I think Bebop...
he takes care of Shelly.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure I've seen Bebop wearing a cooking harness, apron. also known as an apron.
Let me don my cooking harness.
Shelly dear, I've got the cooking harness on. Would you like some spaghetti, love? Oh, thanks, Bebop.
Put him in the S tier spaghetti tier.
For spaghetti, yeah. S for spaghetti. S for spaghetti. 100%. I think, he cooks. He knows what's up. He's got a built-in timer. Shelly loves spaghetti. Shelly starts with an S. Spaghetti starts with an S.
Shelly spaghetti. Yeah. Cool. Dynamos.
See, now, for Dynamo, I think... I reckon
you have a B tier.
I think you're kind of fucked because the problem is he's not gauging temperatures well. He can't taste. You know what I mean? He's not got a stomach anymore.
Yeah, I reckon he's
he
like
could
a professor. He could what he could do is he'd mathematically create the perfect recipe. Does that make sense? Like he'd have it all down to like the milligram. Like how much goes in, what temperature. He'd be able to experiment with it.
I think the problem you have there, though, is that technically, cooking isn't science. Like, it is, but it ain't. Sometimes cooking just takes a bit of personal style. It takes you to be a bit arrogant and put maybe slightly too much salt in. It takes you to be a bit wild and go off script from the book sometimes. I think cooking is it's like Deadlock. It's all about skill expression. So yeah. I think Dynamo's skill capped on it. I don't reckon Dynamo. I think he'd be too serious about the numbers that he'd lose it along the way.
Look, see, a fearless monk. Baking is a science. Cooking is how you feel.
See? And I don't think Dynamo feels too great right now. He seems pretty upset about losing his body. I think
cooking is literally a science as well. I don't know. I feel like you could. He's probably not feeling great about it. He's got a big tummy. He doesn't need any more spaghetti. All right. Okay. Couldn't fit any more in there. He's got like a whole dimensional pocket in there already. The spaghetti's not going in. He doesn't need it.
I'm going to put him in D for don't have a way to eat spaghetti.
Yeah. D for don't eat spaghetti.
Yeah.
Knock him in there. That's unfortunate.
Okay. Right. Grey Talon.
Grey Talon. D tier because I hate him. I don't reckon he can make good spaghetti either. I like spaghetti. Mystical spaghetti. I don't think he knows what spaghetti is, bro.
He just always looks a bit lost right now. I feel like.
Look at his face.
That's what I mean. Like, is. You put it in front of him.
Where's he looking?
You know that meme where it's like the cat that's standing up with the suspenders on, looking out the window, and he's like, "I should buy a boat."
Yeah,
that's just great.
I should figure out what spaghetti is. D tier. D tier.
Doesn't know what spaghetti is. There you go. All right, Hayes. I feel like Hayes would be a bit more of a sweet tooth, if I'm honest. I reckon she's a bit of a snacker. I think, you know, in between work hours at the OSIC, she's having a bit of a nibble on a Nutrigrain. She's having a bit of a nibble on like a Jaffa cake. You know what I mean?
But I think she could make spaghetti. So I would probably... I'd put her in, like, C tier.
Yeah? Could make spaghetti if needed.
Could make spaghetti. Yeah.
All right. That's fine. In fairness...
A tier, probably.
Yeah.
I think.
Able to make spaghetti.
Able to make spaghetti.
Adequate spaghetti tier.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Ivy.
S tier.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, easily. I reckon she makes a mean spaghetti.
Do you think? I feel like maybe quite spicy. Maybe it's her own style. You know what I mean? Like she puts effort in. You'd never have to worry about like, you know, dropping it. She's pretty strong. All things considered, she'd carry a big pot of spaghetti around.
Yeah.
In worst case, there wouldn't be any hair in it or anything. It'd just be leaves. It'd be like some ivy leaves. Well, you know, imagine if you had like Kelvin cooking your spaghetti. Man's got to be wearing a beard net immediately. You know.
Yeah, Ivy, I think so. Ivy, no need.
She's not going anywhere, is she? She's like all stone.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd say S tier.
We can always bring her down. We can always bring her down.
Yeah, I think she's an S tier spaghetti maker though.
All right.
She takes care of me in game, rescue beams, healing booster. I reckon she could make a good spaghetti. Yeah. Kevin.
Again, but that's the problem. He's got a bit too much beard hair. He'd have to wear, look, even just for this. You ever been in like a shop? No, actually, here's one for the Brits. You ever been in a McDonald's late at night? And there's a guy serving you and they make him wear a little beard hairnet. Oh, it makes me feel sick, but
and it like hangs off his face.
Oh, it makes me feel sick.
Some exposed beard. Yeah.
You see the fella working at McDonald's, and he's got his little beard net over his beard, and it's not even a real beard. It's like a few hairs.
Just shave it off. They're giving you that out of courtesy because they keep seeing the beard hairs dropping out.
Makes me feel sick. And because of that,
we put in D tier. Don't want it spaghetti.
D tier for. Don't wear the beard net.
Don't wear the beard net. Okay. Lady Geist.
Lady Geist.
She's been around a while.
Yeah.
She's been around a while.
She's probably made some spaghetti in her time. But she also strikes me as quite a high society type that at this point, maybe she's lost what real spaghetti would be. And it's more, you know, she's just been experiencing like micro portions of spaghetti from high-class restaurants.
Can she even making it with a weird little hand?
The gangly arm. I don't know.
Can that hold a pan?
Yeah.
Oh, she doesn't make it herself. She has a personal chef make it for her. That's true.
Yeah,
true.
But then it's not her physically doing it, is it? That's what I mean. Like, you can't just get your mate to do it for you. Can't get your mate to do it for you.
Yeah. How are we feeling about Lady Geist? I think we're undecided. Come on, give it. Put your S, A, B, or C, or D in the chat right now for Lady Geist, please. I need to know, because I'm struggling. I think we're feeling a B. We're feeling a B. Okay. I think a B makes sense. Bud make spaghetti. Best spaghetti doesn't make it often enough.
That's three Bs.
It's quite a few Bs.
I'm
Bs. Feeling B. Yeah.
All right, let's go for a B. B for might be able to bake Babetti.
You might be able to do it.
Yeah, it's like Brian Badondi.
Spaghetti. Yeah, the most food makes a good point. You know, she wouldn't cook a rubbish spaghetti like Abrams, but she's not an expert either.
No, yeah. She probably could. She could probably make spaghetti.
Padwick makes. That's so good.
There you go. Right, Lash. Mate, no, Lash ain't having a spaghetti. I think if you gave him spaghetti, he wouldn't even know what to do with it.
Have you seen his ropes, though?
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
He knows what the spaghetti is.
He'd be picking up the spaghetti. He'd be flinging it around. It'd be one of those where he'd look at it.
Lassoing you from across the room.
He'd just be like, what is this, tagliatelle? You know?
That'd be good, yeah. Spaghetti is for losers.
Yeah.
True.
What, we out of turkey dinosaurs or something? Where's the tendies, Mom?
If you want to grow up big and strong and be a pit fighter, Lash, you've got to eat your spaghetti.
Fuck you, Mom. Get my tendies right now.
Chex Fit's cooked by throwing it at a wall. Yeah, but the whole plate though. He doesn't say that he's an idiot. D. Don't want no spaghetti.
Yeah, and he's got no eyes, but he wouldn't know when it's ready.
That's true.
He don't know what he's looking at. Right, McGee. I think McGuinness would be pretty good. I feel like she would have all the tools in her workshop to make a mean spaghetti.
Yeah, I think an S tier on McGuinness. Yeah,
right.
I feel an S tier.
Yeah, 100%. I think McGuinness, she'd have a spaghetti making robot. She'd like walk in, turn him on, you know, like beep boop, and it'd just go,
"Hello, McGuinness. I am ready to make spaghetti."
Spaghetti bot.
Yeah.
It is me, spaghetti bot. What would you like, McGuinness? I can do tagliatelle or congeli or the little circle one. I can make carbonara, yes.
Perfect. I love it a lot. All right, so McGuinness, S tier, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Spaghetti Bot.
Yeah, thanks, Spaghetti Bot.
That's okay.
All right, you can go now, Spaghetti Bot.
Piss off.
Yeah.
Why does everybody hate me?
Come on, Spaghetti Bot, leave. What are you doing?
We don't hate you that
He's making it awkward now.
They only want me for my spaghetti.
All right, I'm gonna go turn him off. Hang on.
Go shut him down.
I've turned him off.
Good. Mo and Krill is not going. I'm undecided on Mo and Krill. In one mind, I think Maurice and Krill could whip together a good old spaghetti. All right.
I like to think.
I don't think it'd be a nice spaghetti.
I like to think that in reality, Mo and Krill are like really up there. Like I would actually like the idea that, you know, you're like a working class mole man. You go out, you dig your holes, you come home, but then he's like a proper smart lad. Like everyone thinks Krill's the big brain, right? Everyone thinks Krill's the guy who's in charge. But in reality, Mo's actually like super sophisticated. Like he gets home.
Reese.
Yeah, like he takes his cap off. He's reading books. You know, he's got like some Dostoevsky on the go.
He's got
like
no eyes though.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, mate. He can smell them with his nostrils.
He's blind.
Yeah.
Rail.
He's sniffing them in. Yeah.
It's not rail. It's
nostril rail.
Nostril. It's the rail.
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah.
Maurice, what do you think of that book?
It's good.
Yeah, no, it's a banging chapter.
Two.
Yeah, it's a great chapter.
I reckon they could make a lot of spaghetti. A tier for a lot of spaghetti.
Yeah, I think Mo and Krill would actually be pretty good at making spaghetti.
Yeah, a lot of spaghetti. A tier.
Yeah. Okay, Paradox.
I'd
I
put
don't
her in
know,
A
man.
as well. Paradox is just good. You know, she's just like she's switched on. She knows what's going on.
Well, thing is, right?
She's
I
got
imagine.
no mouth, unfortunately.
Well, no, it's just a mask, isn't it?
I don't know.
Because
I
she's
think
just
it's
part of a gang of you know,
It's like a
paradoxes. Multiple.
It's like a light bulb, though, isn't it?
Well, it's
like
a
light
lava
bulb.
lamp. It's a lava lamp, bud, isn't it?
Yeah. Does Paradox have a face?
I think so. I think because it's like she's basically in like a paradox gang. No, is that not the law, or am I getting my wires crossed?
No, it's like the Time Gang.
Yeah, the law implies that it's a mask. That's what I thought.
That's it. That's a mask. It's all 3D and stuff.
Yeah.
The Paradox Gang all have the same mask.
Because that's what I mean. They're
They give up
basically
their
like
identity to join. That's cool.
they're
That's
like
cool.
faceless pranksters, basically. That just
The fact that I don't know about a character I've played like exclusively at the start of the game feels bad.
you can make a spaghetti, but it has no soul. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I could see that. All right.
B tier for bland spaghetti.
Okay, B tier for bland spaghetti on Paradox. And also, you wouldn't know if she's made it because there could be any one of the Paradox gang coming in. And also, you probably have to because maybe at like, you know, the Paradox gang meet-up nights, they just fucking love spaghetti. So they've all, like, it's mandatory. They've all got to know. I do like the idea of all these people that are coming in halfway through the tier list as well, by the way, and they're going, "What the fuck? Hey, C tier. It's a spaghetti making tier list. I'll have you know." So yes, yes, she is C tier in making spaghetti.
Right, Pocket. I reckon they could probably make a good spaghetti. The only issue is that they've been on the run for a while. So could they actually do it or not is the question. I'm thinking C. I'm thinking C.
Here's the thing. I don't think Pocket's a cooker. I don't see it happening. You've come from a very rich family. Again, it's kind of the lady guy situation. Like, you know what I mean? The Fairfaxes were probably just making stuff and slapping it on the table and they're just eating it.
C for could make spaghetti. I think that makes sense.
But I'm thinking this.
Yeah.
You got the ghostly briefcase, right? Full of various ghosts. What if there's a little chef ghost? Maybe then you could get sort of, you know, trained up. So maybe C tier for could be trained up to make spaghetti.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's put them there.
There you go. 7. 7 is basically a walking induction pan.
On his head? You reckon he's making spaghetti on his head?
So he could just be cooking spaghetti 24/7 if he wanted to.
Yeah, but I don't know I don't think 7's that interested in spaghetti, bro.
Do you not reckon?
No. I think we need a second opinion from chat.
Maybe. I could see that, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like spaghetti. It starts as the same letter as my name.
That's okay. Maybe he's a big spaghetti eater.
Yeah, he just loves
7 is going to
spaghetti.
burn his hand and explode the whole apartment while cooking spaghetti. Yeah, he couldn't really get near any appliances. Yeah. The
would need to,
undead
he would need
electro
to.
beast. I don't know. I think D. I genuinely think D.
Yeah? All right, we can put him
I
in
think
D.
D for doesn't care about spaghetti.
D for does not ask about spaghetti.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Vindicta. Vindicta.
I reckon she makes some good, like, spectral spaghetti.
Spectral spaghetti.
Yeah. 7 is the appliance. That is good. That is
Thing
good.
is, like, if you're Vindictor, are you asked about spaghetti? Is that on your agenda? I feel like she's the sort of person that would have some beans on toast. And
I
that'd be about
appreciate
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I appreciate Emoji's comment. It's just feet. Reasonable.
Feet spaghetti.
Feet spaghetti. Would you want to eat that though? Don't answer
It
that.
would be,
chat. That's the dangerous route that we could go down.
It's like olive oil. For the first pressing, I want the second pressing.
Stop. Straw place, no. I think a C. I reckon she could make spaghetti. She could probably figure it out. Again, she's a lady guy situation. She's been around for a while. Like, she probably does know of spaghetti. I reckon Vindictor knows of spaghetti.
I don't know. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe with the Salem witch trials,
She's capable.
they saw her making spaghetti one night, and they were like, all the lads down the bar were like, I've seen a witch. I've seen a witch. She took some water and she's bloody boiled the water. She was using heat on water, and then she's taken what looked to me like some sort of hard object, right? And they were all going, yeah. And she's only gone and bloody put the object in water, and it became soft. And then she put cheese on it. She's a witch.
She's making hard things soft.
She's a witch.
That's a witch.
And everyone just went, no, yeah, you're right. She's a witch, isn't she? And they stormed off and they grabbed her, and that's how she died.
Did they try the spaghetti first?
Maybe they had one spoonful of it.
This is too good. This is too good, lads.
Give me that spoon now. Give me that. And then he's like, oh, it tastes like cheese and something else. She's a witch. She's a witch.
She's a witch.
She's a witch. Burn her now. She's a witch.
All right, cool. Put her in B tier for burn her now.
Burn her now. She's a witch.
She's a witch. B tier.
All right. Warden.
I think he's like the opposite of Abrams, personally.
Okay.
Look how tidy his mustache is on his beard. Right, he's got time for himself.
He gets home after a long day of, being I can't remember what the wording is.
A warden.
No, because he is like what's it called? Like he's like a rogue man, isn't he? On his own. He's an independent member. He's like the private eye equivalent of someone that goes round and arrests bad people. You know what I mean? God, what is it? What's the word?
Got vigilante.
Yeah, that's it. That's like basically his role. Like warden is like a vigilante policeman, right?
He's
that's
cleaning
like
up the streets.
yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. So maybe he has like time to at home make a nice spaghetti.
Yeah, I think
and then he takes that in a little like lunchbox. He's got a viscous themed lunchbox.
Yeah.
And he takes that with him. And he'll eat that on the street, and then he sees someone, being like a bit of a goon, and he'll go over and he'll be like, "Right then, sunshine, I'm gonna have to whack you on the head
with me baton.
Yeah, I've got my truncheon here. Get ready."
Yeah. All right, I can see that. Maybe he feeds him a little bit of spaghetti in the cell.
Hey, what do you think of this, mate? I'm trying out a new garlic mix.
I'll have a taste of that. Yeah, okay. I'll probably say A tier.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. I think
A for well-adjusted.
I think Warden would be able to make a good spaghetti and would know his way around spaghetti. I think he would understand how to make high quality spaghetti. That's actually viable. That's viable.
Yeah. Wraith? Puppet hands, telekinesis, spaghetti creation.
Dude, it could be like, you ever seen the movie Matilda?
Yeah, I'm thinking Matilda.
Right? She's got all the stuff flying around.
Do you know that crazy, have you heard the crazy lore about Matilda?
What?
They think that, like the teacher.
Mrs. Truncheon?
No, the other one, the nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think that Matilda is a projection of herself into the world. because she had like a bad upbringing, like Matilda did. She was Matilda is Matilda's technically like, not real.
It's like her psychosis of imagining a child exists to stand up against Mrs. Truncheon.
Yeah. Yeah. But like there's still magic involved.
Well, that's wild. Okay, I
know. You should look into that. It's kind of it's like, cool, it's a cool theory.
It's like, you know how like there's people that hypothesize that the Disney movie Aladdin takes place years after a nuclear disaster has destroyed Earth.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because there's like subtle references to like things that happened in the modern day, and then Aladdin takes place. And that's like one timeline that people assume is that basically Aladdin takes place after a nuclear disaster. There's like buildings that are covered up with sand in the opening cutscene with Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh, for real?
It's Gilbert Godfrey, right? Who plays the, the parrot?
Yeah.
Gilbert Godfrey would be a great Deadlock character.
I think so. Parrot character.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, back to Rafe. She'd Matilda up the spaghetti. I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. S or A.
I think she's up there. She's up there for spaghetti. She knows what she's doing. She would be pretty damn good at it. I really think that she would be pretty good at spaghetti in general.
It's S, bro. Come on.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Rafe can cook everything. Yeah, she can do it mind
for psychic spaghetti.
Psychic spaghetti. Perfect. Yeah.
There you go. Kelvin isn't D tier. I've been playing him. That's all right. It's about spaghetti, bud. The tier list is about how good they are at making spaghetti. So you're okay. It's all right. Don't worry.
My favorite thing right now is the people that have been here since the start. Like, they know about the spaghetti tier list. They're like telling people.
It's just about spaghetti, actually, mate.
Spaghetti. Oh, damn it. Okay, Yamato. I don't think she can make good spaghetti. I reckon she would do noodles.
She seems like she's been a bit too busy, bro. Like, you look at her lore, it feels like you've never really had time to be that asked about cooking. I'm gonna be honest. I think at a push,
I reckon her brother does all the cooking.
That's what I mean. At a push, I reckon she could have a cook, but she doesn't strike me as the type that cares about cooking.
Yeah. She could put like tomato paste and beef into it, but it still end up like some kind of ramen.
You could season it. Spaghetti. You could season it, but I don't think she's making a natural core spaghetti. So I would say for a C for could season.
Yeah. Could season pasta.
Right, Shiv. Now here's the thing about Shiv. I'd say his spaghetti making skills probably not the best. Like, I don't think if we're talking about him actually like physically making the spaghetti itself from the dough into the spaghetti and all that, I don't think he's gonna be that great. But I'll tell you what I reckon he would be pretty good at. I think he could cook up a mean dish that involves spaghetti. He's gonna be there, chopping up all the veg really fine, dicing it up, making it really nice. If he was making a bolognese, it'd be perfectly like mashed into little bits. He'd get it just right. I think Shiv would be super good at the outside of the box of spaghetti.
Yeah. Yeah. A for assisted spaghetti.
Okay. Could assist in making spaghetti.
A good spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, it's viscous.
Like a F tier spaghetti. It's a bloody fish.
Yeah, well, he's a psychic seeing enemy that uses the power of goo.
It's a fish.
I don't think I could eat this.
Exactly. He doesn't even know what food is. He needs an F tier.
Yeah.
Can you make another tier?
Well, look, we can just put him on the edge. Can we put him on the edge? No.
No.
It's fine. We'll leave him there.
We'll leave him there.
Well, there you go.
Doesn't know what spaghetti is.
That's the spaghetti making tier list for Deadlock characters.
That's good. I like that.
I don't think that's bad at all. I think that's good. We'll screenshot this.
Yeah.
We can put that.
I can go up.
That can go on the Twitter.
Yeah. Now for the tier list that's going to make everyone really angry.
Got best character designs.
Yeah, no. The competitive tier list. Off this newest patch, of course.
Okay, hang on.
Are you ready for this one? You ready to upset the entirety of the fan base?
Here, I'm just doing a quick tweet, just saying tier list.
If you guys are upset with this tier list, let me know.
Based on each Deadlock character's, each Deadlock hero's ability to cook
Make spaghetti.
a good spaghetti.
I'm glad that you clarified as well.
Not just a spaghetti, but a good spaghetti.
good one. Yeah,
Tier list based on each Deadlock hero's ability to cook a good spaghetti. And then I'll attach a spaghetti. Is there a spaghetti emote? There is. Oh,
Is there?
so look at that. There's an emoji for spaghetti. Isn't that fun, everyone?
Awesome.
Round of spaghetti emojis in the comments of the tweet, everyone, to show that you were a part of the spaghetti talk. And remember, don't forget to tell your family and the home dog. Go and get your dog to log in on his iPhone and watch the stream.
Yeah. Oh, Barky the dog.
Yeah. Tier list. Sorry, I just realised I spelled tier list wrong. What have I done there? Tier listed.
You do like tiers.
No, I wrote
like...
tier listed.
Dang you.
Or what, like crying tears?
Yeah.
No, I didn't do that.
That's good. I'm glad. Please come with spaghetti tier list grievances under the expos. True. True.
Okay. Right, tweet's out.
Go.
I posted the tweet. I can even link the tweet for you all. There you go.
I hope so, Dougie. I hope that the opera woman is actually added. She needs a little bit more. Oh, I'm sorry, safety.
My mum.
That's crazy. How late is it there? That must be insane.
That's a wild statement. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, though. You were very helpful in the spaghetti tier list.
Right,
We appreciate you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Tell your mum to ring us. We'll let
clear
her
it
know it's
up.
good.
Yeah,
We'll clear it up. We'll say it was our fault.
You've been a bad influence.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, 3 a.m. Damn. It's crazy.
No.
Yeah, go to bed. Go to bed. It's like night time. Ultimate Tumblr sexy man tier list. What is that?
Oh, I was trying to get back here, but ignore that. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. That's not what you want. Okay.
All right. Okay.
That's the upcoming update for Deadlock.
Does this have Viscous on it?
Yeah, it should do. Yeah, they're all there.
Oh, sweet.
Everyone's there. Everyone's there.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Go comment spaghetti on the post, everyone. Make sure you get your
you.
spaghetti comments in. It's out.
We
I've linked
appreciate
it. Yeah.
Let me have a little look at it. Let me not be on the Deadlock Air account. Let's just drop a retweet on that. On the like. Okay, so let's whack this one up there, Mr. Jackis.
Yeah. Okay. So we start left to right again, but we do it that way.
Yeah.
And we'll have a quick hypothesize. So
Ready to be extremely upset. Okay.
This is following the latest patch. So this is as of the 12th of September update for Deadlock. For anyone that's joining us with your solo peepers, and for the audio listeners that will be watching this later on, because we'll upload this. This will all goes out as a live special, and then we'll upload it later so people can catch the VOD if they missed it.
Right. So we have 5 tiers here for any of you audio listeners. We have Instapick right at the top, good, decent, kind of bad / meh, and IDK. I don't know. I would pick him at the bottom. So we'll go.
You playing that guy? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't really care. So yeah, we'll go from left to right, and we're going to start with Abrams.
Okay, Abrams.
I'm saying good.
Yeah, I'm saying good as well. I think he's very strong.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't really changed him much in the latest update. Everything they kind of did do was basically just around, like, the visual stuff. Like, he leaves cracks in walls now if he hits someone near a wall.
It did. I think the big one is that they changed the shoulder charge stun time from 1 second to 0.85. It's less egregious now. You can before it was the case that the stun lasted long enough so you could get one punch off, and then you could already be charging up the second when they came out of stun. So it'd be kind of, you could parry the second one, but a lot of people get quite disorientated in that moment. And whilst there's a lot of other stuff going on, that shoulder charge can be pretty nasty. So I do think that even Infernal Resilience going down from 17 to 16%, that took him from insta-pick down to good. It was a very small change, but it did change a lot.
It's hard because obviously everyone got global nerfed with up to 6% of their cooldown being increased with the way they changed cooldowns. But I don't think that really breaks Abrams too much. I don't think it's the end of the world for him. It's slightly worse than some other characters. Like Seismic Impact is still fine. Yeah, it's still fine.
Let me remove this as well. Not spaghetti tier list anymore.
Where have you put that?
I'll just pin spaghetti tier list.
Spaghetti tier list.
I'll do competitive tier list. Pin that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Why are the colors backwards?
That's how it always is on tier list now. Am I wrong?
There's some fucking noise going on outside, but it's like a disco or something. Just screaming.
Are you gonna go out?
No. Yeah, I'd go join them and see what's going on.
Whack Abrams on there now.
But yeah, let's go for a good. Go for a good with Abrams. I think that's fine. That's fine. Right, Bebop. So Bebop did actually have a few changes.
He did.
Yeah, so his hook, more shallow now. It's lost 5 meters to its base hook range. And they also changed something that we spoke about on the other podcast, which was, do you remember they added the alternate cast modifier? So if you held all, I think it was default bound to all, it would basically make it so it would always pierce through enemies or allies, depending on your normal fire being that it would only interact with enemies, or your alt fire being that it would only interact with allies. So you never had to worry about accidentally pulling your teammates. I thought that was a cool change, but I guess that was a bit busted in testing, because that's gone. They've binned that off. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. He's still not like a major pick, though, in most like high tiers.
In competitive games, probably
not. Spirit build Bebop was really fun, but the change to Hyper Beam is actually a big one. So it does splash damage around a 5 meter area, which is quite large for splash, where it connects to the ground. So if you're able to Majestic Leap, unstoppable whilst in Hyper Beam, this is really good for characters that just hide behind walls, because that was one of its like biggest weaknesses. So
have you been hit by this yet? Have you felt how much damage this does, by the way?
Hyper Beam. I know Hyper Beam does a lot of damage. I've played a lot of Spirit Bebop.
No, but I mean, as of the patch, have you seen how much damage this does with the splash damage? Because it's gross, but like it ruins you.
Kalaris was actually playing Bebop in a game that we played earlier, and he was doing all right. He was doing all right. I put it nicely. But he got 3k souls, hit Hyper Beam.
Suddenly just kill everything. Yeah, no,
killed everything.
It's real strong at the minute.
I don't know. I am torn between decent and good, and I personally think right now I couldn't. He could be good, but I think decent probably where I would put him.
I think with how overtuned Hyper Beam is at the minute, he's good. Yeah, I would say, because the other changes are nerfs. Like outright are just nerfs, but I think the Hyper Beam change will be that's going to get toned down next patch. 100%.
You think good?
Yeah,
you think good?
Because
put him in good though.
If you group up in a team fight, Bebop gonna bop you. I would say right now. We'll see tonight. Anyway, like we're casting that tournament tonight. We're casting Deadlock Core after this. If you're watching the podcast, it's already happened. If you're watching the VOD, but if you're watching live, in about 3 hours, we're going to be casting an event. So we'll see what the picks up. I think Bebop unintentionally very strong right now post patch.
Yeah, I do. I like the change they made to him, which makes him like a little bit more. What's it called? Quality of life changes. So uppercut no longer roots you, and you can now you can now fire whilst he's jumping if his laser's already warmed up, which is really cool. Okay, who's next?
Dynamo.
Instapick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's entirely fair. Like, he's very strong, very high usability, great in a competitive setting, great even in pub play. Rexure in terms of his damage. I'm trying to think if there's anything this patch that kind of ruined his life.
Nothing.
Not really.
It's minor changes.
Yeah.
The slow being reduced on kinetic pulse. The 35% is fair enough. Like, there's a lot of slows in the game, and I think for a knock-up, slow at 40% is kind of crazy.
Even the change to rejuvenating Nora, so you can still use it now whilst using stamina as well. So you actually have more mobility.
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
heroes got that treatment where like you have way more mobility actually.
Yeah, you need it as well. For channeled stuff in this game, like forcing someone to sit still whilst they channel stuff is kind of mean. So especially for like just a normal ability like rejuvenate aura, like you want to be able to dash in that.
Yeah, so I think Dynamo, Instapick still makes sense to me. That's viable. Like, he's strong.
Yeah. All right. Lady Geist.
LG. It's hard, right? Because I think the person who Geist is quite a high skill ceiling character, and she is very good. And she's very good on specific people that have very good aim. If you're a drilled aimer and you can build her properly, there's a few viable builds where she can be super powerful. Is she as good as some other picks in high tier play? Probably not.
I think she is, bro.
I think, well, yeah, I know, but out of 6 available picks, bud, I think you would have potentially 6 picks that would be slightly better than her. But
I don't know.
What are you thinking?
I think I wouldn't put her in Instapick, but I'd put her in good.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's bad at all. I'm saying she's really good, but that's what I'm saying. But like, if you're trying to have the six picks that you would get in a veto, right? I think you would have higher priority on 6 picks that Geist wouldn't be in initially.
So I'm actually torn between Instapick and good because Essence Bomb T3 damage increased from 22% to 26, and Essence Bomb Spirit Scaling going from 1.05 to 115, and also multiple blood shards not absorbed by one hero but now can pass through to the others. I think Lady Geist is an insane team fighter in competitive format. Like, she's unbelievable. Like, the problem you have in a lot of your public games with Lady Geist is that it's very hard to set up team fights often enough for her to find that value. Like, in terms of clearing lanes, in terms of just providing ongoing damage throughout an entire fight. You get Mystic slow as well. Like, Essence Bomb becomes like a literal area denial in terms of slow. I'm really conflicted between Instapick and good, so I will let you decide between those two.
I'd go for good right now.
Okay.
But I do agree with these changes. There are actually some nice changes to it, like quality of life wise. Again, especially didn't even realize actually the fact that self damage was affecting shields. Seems so silly to now see that written as a patch note. Like, makes sense why that's been changed. That'll actually be huge for
it's a big change because
that's really nice.
Build into Spirit Lifesteal, like a lot of that health's coming back to you anyway late game. And this means you can still have a Spirit Shield on top of that. Because it was chunking through the entire Spirit Shield, bro.
No, exactly. So that's mad. Like, seeing that written down like that, that's a hell of a change. So yeah, I think, again, like, I love Geist. Playing is actually incredibly fun. And I think she's very viable for a certain type of player. But I think that's fair. I think for now, A tier, she wouldn't be one of the characters I imagine if you had a first pick, you would go for in a competitive 6v6 format. But she is definitely a viable pick for competitive play.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Material. I think that's probably a good thing to do as well. I think I'd knock Geist ahead of Bebop, personally. You can do that.
Move Geist ahead of Bebop?
Yeah, so like one in. So it's like, if you're closer to good... Yeah, so if you're closer to the left side, that means you're closer to Instapick. That makes sense?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That sounds like some Zuma tier list malarkey.
What do you mean? No, this is how you do tier list, bro. The hell? Right, next great talent. He had a load of changes. Great talent. 1.46 to 1.8 on bullet damage growth per boon. Guided Owl cooldown increase from 110 to 120. Decent. I reckon decent. What do you think?
Yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah, dude.
I find Grey Talon incredibly annoying, but I wouldn't
Same.
say he's especially like amazing at anything right now. I just think you are an annoying, harassed character. If you can get mad fed in pubs, then go for it. You'll have a field day. But again, like, outside of Owl, even your slow now kind of sucks. So it's not going to be majorly viable in high tier play. You're just going to be owling people. So yeah, decent, I guess. Like, he's fine. He's not.
Here's the caveat, right?
Okay.
They changed his changed it so his spirit scales his fire rate up, right? Last patch. He now gets bullet damage growth per boon increased by 0.4, which is kind of massive, right? So if you build spirit, add a little bit into like maybe you pick up burst fire, you pick up spiritual overflow, like you're doing a lot of damage just even with rain of arrows, which is sort of wild. So I think he could easily move up into good, but this is the thing. I have not seen an insane Grey Talon in a competitive format just yet. The Grey Talons that I have seen, you're so right, outside of Guided Owl, which is awesome as like a scouting tool, so you don't have to face check stuff, and also does a bunch of damage. You can kind of snipe people across the map with it, which gets everyone ahead. That's really cool. But his general kit, like charge shot, is it, right? That's the big thing. The immobilizing trap is annoying. That's about it. So yeah, I'd agree. He's an annoying character. I think he could slip up into good if we see like some crazy plays tonight, maybe. But right now, I think you're right. Decent's a good place to have him.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think for Grey Talon, he is decent. That's it. Like, I wouldn't imagine he's more than that in my mind. You can stay there for now. So, who have we got next on here? Hayes. Okay. I mean, I think Hayes
probably insta-pick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Hayes is really good. And especially, like, again, if you're good at playing Hayes, you can have an absolute field day. High tier games, yeah, sure, things don't run that late, but you can get pretty fed on her pretty quickly. And even when she's not abundantly further ahead than other characters, I think just innately with her kit, the way that she works as a hero, she's still good. I think she would be one of the better damage dealers that you could pick up. So I would say, yeah. I think, again, maybe good Hayes is insta-pick, or you think
maybe like to the left of Abrams. I think she's just before insta-pick. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair enough. I mean, yeah, if we're using insta-pick as that's your first pick in a veto kind of territory, then yeah, all right, fair enough. I can see there being another character that you could pick before that.
Yeah, because Mango Goose is right. She does get item countered, and she's pretty much forced into buying Unstoppable. You have to buy Unstoppable. Yeah. She has little escape tools. So she's a character that she builds around the team. The team doesn't build around her. That makes sense. Like a Dynamo, your team builds around him. So you like mix your Lash with him, or you have a load of AoE. Like to play Hayes and have like Hayes gains a load of success from having a Dynamo, not the other way around. That makes sense?
I think so.
Trying to use me words.
Yeah, it's good, mate. It's good. Right, okay, so Infernus.
Okay. Lady Geist, I'd say.
Yeah, so I think the things about Infernus is, again, his kit is good for things that make competitive deadlock important, like being able to actually get the big concussive combustion off and use it in a way to harass people and make it super uncomfortable when they're trying to get rejuve or like get out of team fights or bail on a fight. He's good. He really is your annoying engage. But he's also good for late game fights as well, especially just with the dot damage that he can do. Like, his dots are unmatched, So I think to be an annoying DPS dealer, he's got a good kit and does a boatload of damage. So Infernus, again, super viable. I think it's also he's one of those characters that, like, even if you're new to the game, like, he is really good. And then if you are playing high tier Deadlock, he's really good.
Yeah, the thing is about Infernus is that he's one of the few characters that in his general build setup he builds into toxic bullets. It's not a decision, it's not a choice you make in the game where it's like I'm going up against tanks, so I need to build toxic bullets. It's like he just builds it. It's like in his general build. So he's one of the few characters that just chunks through tanks. And I think at the moment, like, most teams are building like at least 3 tanky characters. So yeah. Are we still considering Abrams to be good despite nerfs with shoulder charge? Yeah, so we actually did talk about this earlier. I think he'd be further into the insta-pick category if he didn't have the nerfs come through. He's still a really good character and really strong in team play.
Okay. Next on the list, then, Ivy. Trying to think if anything really majorly changed this patch. Just have a quick scroll. Fix some issues when flying near a wall. That's just more quality of life. Airdrop silence and slow debuff duration has been reduced by 0.5 seconds. Okay, well, I mean, so for Ivy, your biggest draws are airdrop silences late game. You know, that's kind of like, that's your bread and butter as Ivy. And again, I think for most of these games, she's not really going to have that opportunity to be incredibly viable. I don't think she's that far up, sadly. I really don't think she would be that much
probably decent
needed pick. Yeah, exactly. I think she's another, like, could be good, better in your pub games by far, where you have a little bit more room. But
I mean,
again,
she's really good in team play if you can coordinate, like dropping a dynamo into a team, using it to pass the urn off across the map, like being able to travel with someone using the urn on Ivy's ultimate's really strong. So in terms of like that utility, it's there. But if you want someone to basically train the urn, you just get a Kelvin to do it, right? And I have seen Kelvin Ivy teams been utilized, and that's fine, it's fair. That's probably a case where some of your picks get banned, so you just go Ivy instead. But yeah, carrying a 7 to make him viable is also something that's in there. So I think she has, like, basically, Ivy could be in the good tier, but it highly depends on the team and the Ivy, right?
Yeah.
I think
again, that's what I mean.
is a good spot.
I think she's, for the middle ground, she is fine and can be very useful.
She's ahead of Grey Talon, definitely.
The further, yeah, we definitely change that. The further you go up the kind of skill level in terms of, you know, like if you're breaking into what would be the professional tier of Deadlock right now, I think she would get worse just by the nature of how those games are played. And obviously we only ever saw it once, and a lot of that was just off the back of every single second that her airdrop was off cooldown, it was instantly used to try and get something beneficial from it. So that's your whole job. You're like the butter robot from Rick and Morty. Like, what is your job? You airdrop. That's it.
Exactly. I mean, Stoneform's amazing for Sealing Rejuvenator, but like a lot of high-level teams aren't going to let you just use that, and it's something that happens 3 times a match.
Yeah. Like, so I think decent, number 1 spot in decent, that makes sense for where Ivy is right now. Kelvin. Okay, so Kelvin obviously super overtuned last patch, right? 80%. Just being the big old beam to your face, ruining your lives. Early game poke, crazy. The fact that he's got so much usability to him, the fact we saw how that can be used as well in the Aurora Masters, there's a lot. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, of course, we covered all the changes that went down with Kelvin, why he's so visibly different now after the 12th of September. But in case you're unaware, Arctic Beam fire rate and movement slow were both 80% before the patch. That's now down to 40% on the fire rate slow and 70% on the movement slow. So already you're dashing that by half for his fire rate reduction and 10% taking off of the movement slow reduction. The big kicker is, though, Blank, it now freezes anything that is categorized as an objective. So that means Guardians, that means Walkers, that means Midboh, that means the Rejuvenator.
Me take Midboh.
you physically cannot break it. So if you pop that frozen shelter, mid boss is just invulnerable until frozen shelter is gone. Now, technically, you can still use it to guarantee a rejuvenator, because obviously the window of you taking down the frozen shelter and your teammate punching it could be timed to the fact where it's almost impossible for any sort of disable or chance for a steal to ever occur. But it does mean it's nowhere near as quick, and it wastes more time, and it's a bit more situational. But it's a bit of a weird, it's enough rather than a nerf, because it could be a buff in some ways as well, that you now have an option to harass on people's guardians, harass on people's walkers. Hell, you could even come in and harass on a mid-boss, rejuvenate a steal that would have been taken from another team if you can get the Arctic Dome off, because then they can't claim it. So it's made it more awkward for Kelvin, but more awkward in terms of opening up different gameplay elements. So it's a gameplay overhaul as much as it is a nerf to Kelvin.
Yeah, because not only because you mentioned some really good points, because it is thematically in line with him as well. You can freeze your stuff. This is what I was going to say, Promise, is that if people are trying to take your walker, you can freeze the walker and give time for other teammates to actually come across and help protect that. Because with it now changing from 1 walker is your first flex slot to 2, you can really extend the amount of time that it takes for teams to be able to take that second walker with Kelvin. So before, I think you're so right as well, Jacky, is that Ice Dome was super low skill cap in terms of I place this down, I take Rejuvenator,
set it, forget it,
nothing
done.
about it.
That's it.
Yeah. Now it's a bit more like, right, I can use Ice Dome to delay this fight to give us time to clean it up before we take the Rejuvenator itself. So I still think he's insta pick, honestly. He's just, his utility has moved, I would say, moved around a bit.
Yeah, I mean, for context for that, I would put it up on screen, but I'm lazy. But Damp tweeted at Piggy, because obviously Damp and Piggy did an interview that'll be coming to the channel soon. And Damp was talking to Piggy about Kelvin extensively in that, and he was saying, like he's super overtuned right now with the 80%, and that'll probably get reduced. And it has. And Damp said to him, like, do you think this has changed him enough? Do you think this is enough of a nerf? And his response was, he's still S+, he would need a complete overhaul to never not be viable. So even with the changes, like, like we're thinking, it's just a different way you have to think about it. But it's not as if like Ice Path doesn't give you the boost for getting earned. It's not as if you still can't use it to steal. If anything, you've given him more usability in a roundabout way. So I would still say Kelvin insta pick.
Yeah, insta pick tier, easy peasy.
Yeah.
Lasherino.
Okay, Jacob Lash. Man,
good tier.
I think, like Lash is good, and Lash can be very, very strong. Again, though, I feel like it's one of those where it takes a bit more of a situational player to be able to get the most out of him.
Yeah, so Lash, I would say good ahead of Lady Geist. This 8 tiers getting pretty big. It's nice that so many characters are good.
Yeah. So what do you reckon?
Yeah.
Middle of the packing good?
Ahead of Lady Geist.
All right. I think that's fair. Once he gets his eyeballs,
it'll be even better.
It'll be insta pick, yeah.
McGinnis kind of bad, man. Sort of easy.
Say it again, bud.
McGinnis kind of bad / meh.
McGinn, yeah. I mean, so the problem is with McGinnis is with the criteria of what we're doing this off, which is like high tier deadlock, like professional play, your high skill ceiling. Everyone just kind of thinks that she doesn't have that much to her. And she doesn't, right? In the sense that she's a bit slow. She's a bit boring in the sense that you don't have as much usability. Like, she isn't good for objective play. She isn't going to open up a way to win team fights single-handedly. She could delay, she can split push, she can be a bit of a rat in the back lines, but that all comes with building. That all comes with investing so much money to be able to build into a game, right? It's not just going to happen off the back of the first 15 minutes. So I think, McGinnis again, she just doesn't have that much to her kit, mate. I think that's what it is, right? Like, you have a heal, you have a turret, you have a wall. That's all you do.
Yeah. It's not enough. Unfortunate. But yeah, McGinnis, I think a lot of people already know about McGinnis. We talked about her early, right? Actually, to be fair, she did receive a lot of buffs recently, and the Medicinal Spectre, which is the heal, got some buffs to make her more in that supportive line in terms of just even improving the radius of it. Yeah, I don't know if that'll move her up or not. I think there's better heroes to pick in the supportive category. Like, you're not going to have Kelvin, Ivy, and McGinnis on the same team, right?
No.
You might have two. So we'll see.
I'm having a look at these now. I mean, kind of buffs, kind of not really. Like, yeah, you've gotten more usability out of your heal with it growing with spirit power, sure, but she can no longer mantle over her own wall. The wall's also lost 1 meter of range, 1 second of duration. Heavy barrage, kind of buffed, but it still doesn't feel like it'll be that much of a drastic change to it. The only one that sticks out a bit more is mini turret's bullet travel speed has been increased. We'd have to test that though to see exactly how much of a change that is, because there's no numbers listed on that one. But again, that's not going to suddenly make her sick. So I think kind of bad / meh. Yeah, that's where she lives right now. Mo and Krill though, that's another big one for the top spot for me.
Yeah, that's an insta pick right there. I think Mo and Krill, they increased the cooldowns. Did they make changes here? They did change it, but like, he can cast Scorn while using combo, so even more damage, and that in turn goes back to his tier 5 on Scorn, which increases damage by 15% from all actives, which is so good. Dude, this Promise guy like kind of is just reading in my mind a lot. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, so Scorn is really good on combo. The only problem is that combo tier 2 reduced from +1 second to +0.75. However, the change that really needed to come through was the tier 1. Like, the 30-second reduction on the cooldown of his ultimate needed to be increased. Combo is becoming the... Burrow was sort of the thing that was the icon for Mo and Krill, but combo's like now that thing that really sets him apart from every other hero. The amount of damage he can put out just by locking someone down for a long time in the early game just gets everyone else set up. So yeah, easy insta pick for me.
I agree. I was expecting, weirdly, when I was reading through the patch notes, right, based off some of the things we noticed and how much stuff we spotted in that last tournament that was then immediately fixed, like the power-ups, stacking on those, that got fixed. Kelvin got completely overhauled in some ways. I thought Mo and Krill would get changes as well. And you kind of did, right? Because you added the global cooldown increase, which... I don't think that's bad. Like, we were talking about that. A lot of people seem to agree that, you know, all cooldowns were a bit short in Deadlock at the time. So a 6% flat, everyone slightly longer on the old cooldowns now is fine.
Just 3 seconds on his ult.
But that's what I mean. Yeah. But because it's global as well, though, it's not targeted just to him. So as much as it is a nerf, it's not the end of the world, right? Because everyone got affected, and it's not even that bad. Like, it's really not even that bad. So yeah, insta pick still, Mo and Krill still sick. Like, your supports are a big deal in Deadlock. Support by name, not by game.
Yeah, I think the only thing that was sort of a tough one for Mo and Krill, will make him less oppressive in lane, is because he's got one of the few fast-firing shotguns in the game. So it's got like spread right on it, which made
like 7 bullets or something per clip as well. It's huge.
Which made headshot booster incredibly strong on him, because you fired so fast you could always just slap that headshot booster damage out. So now they changed headshot booster, so it goes on cooldown even if you hit a body shot. So you have to hit that headshot straight away. So it doesn't mean he can just spray into you and then find that headshot booster damage in the middle of the spray. So it does make it a little bit more intentional. So that does like reduce some of his lane power, but really not by a lot.
Okay. Right, so let's move on then. Next up, Paradox.
Yeah, man. Paradoxy.
One change, just the one patch note. Only a single. So basically what you fixed issues here with paradoxical swap, hitting targets that were behind a wall and then swapping them from outside of the wall. So, I mean, that's fair. That's more of a quality of life gameplay change, because it would feel a little bit rough if you get interrupted behind a wall and it pulls you out. So that's just one that should balance things a little bit nicer. Yeah. Nothing else.
She's mega high skill cap. But you gotta realistically, in terms of numbers, she's just ahead of Ivy, I would say, right now. You need to be a really good Paradox to make her work.
I'd agree. I don't think she's innately, as just a character, crazy strong. I don't think she's like got a ridiculous kit. I don't think
She has
she's
to build so
incredibly
weird,
powerful.
bro.
Exactly. I think it takes the right person because obviously it's basically you have to understand like all of the micro of Deadlock. You've got to be able to conserve your ammunition for the magazine to make sure you get the most out of her because then she is super viable. If you're doing the little ammo reset on the ramps towards Guardians, you can get a lot from her. If you're hitting all of your shots at the right time, you can get a lot of DPS output from her. You can harass well with her bomb. And also paradoxical swap, of course, if you can time it right with your other abilities and actually use it proficiently, then yeah, it can be very, very annoying. But again, I don't think her kit on its own in the hands of the average player is that crazy. I think it does take the right kind of person playing her in the right kind of way to put her ahead of other base kits.
Yeah, so I think just ahead of Ivy and decent would be fine for me, honestly. Because her numbers are low. Like she needs a kit overhaul, and that she's a kit overhaul to fix her. Because right now, when her numbers were up, she was ridiculously strong, and she was like hovering in the insta-pick category. She was nerfed over and over and over, and it's just her kit is ridiculous. So yeah. They were banning her so much, Namcram, because of Michaelis.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's literally the entire conversation. Yeah. For context, of course, this list is based on pro tier, like competitive tier Deadlock, 6v6, communication, high tier gameplay right now. That's what we're using this to utilize. And then the other thing is you've got to remember a lot of those picks and bans are skewed from the Aurora Masters because they're very targeted bans, right? If you look at Michaelis' stats, you can have that information and know, even if it's just for him as a personal player, you don't want him to be able to play Paradox because he's comfortable on it. But like we're saying, it takes the right kind of player. You throw someone on a Paradox in a general pub game of Deadlock, unless they know how to maximize her, you could get more use out of one of these other characters in the good tier by far. And I'd stand by that. I think that makes sense. And again, it's a small sample size. We had 4 games. You had 2 semifinals, a third, fourth decider, and what's it called? A grand final. So we only had 4 games.
Yeah, it was not a lot. I think she was banned once, I think, Jacky. Am I right saying that? It's one time.
I think so.
It was twice. So it was one time, the first time they went against Michaelis, I think it was Team Sunset, and then the second time they banned her once versus Team Recrent. That was it. That was the only 2 times they got banned, if I'm not mistaken.
So that's what we're thinking there. I stick by that, mate. I think that makes sense. Based on the facts, based off what we've seen, that reads true in my brain.
Yeah.
All right, Pocket. What do we think of Pocket?
Pocket got a couple of nerfs. He's got a few nerfs recently, actually. So even amp stacks reduced from 7% to 6%, and slow reduced from 40 to 30%. There's also a brief lockout period on Flying Cloak to prevent accidental double clicks, so you can't just hit instant damage and teleport forward to get the additional bullet damage on tier 5. I don't know. I think Pocket is still in the good tier. They're incredibly strong. In terms of added damage amp, early game, that makes them crazy, Jacky. So I would probably put Pocket in between Lash and Lady Geist, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, they're slight nerfs. I think, again, with Pocket, they're a character that you could be competitively viable on. I just feel like maybe these nerfs could be a bit of a pain in the backside, though. Having a bit of a read over in terms of usability, getting the combos off, the Pocket's very powerful in. Especially with some of the dukes as well, it actually could be a little bit more annoying. It feels like maybe that's going to be a bit of a pain. I'd have to see how that plays out.
If you get a lot of Spirit Lifesteal on them, they become this case where you can't exactly lock them down at all, and you can spend so much time in a fight on them that you just can't win the fight because of it, because the team fight's dominated by a pocket just flying around doing tons of damage and is just impossible to kill. It's a real problem. So I think there is fine for pocket. They received like a ton of play in the high tier competitive as well. But I don't know enough about the character.
Second. Have you all lost your minds? What do you mean zoom out? You can see everything on screen. There's nothing to zoom out to show you. It's all there. Like what brain rot is this? Zoom out. Show me the webpage. It's all there, homie. You're fine. Like unpicked heroes. We're getting to them. They'll be on the list eventually, but they'll be on the list. Like, what are you on about? When they're on the list, they're picked.
If I can't see the URL, it's too zoomed in.
Like, my God.
If you don't want feedback, try YouTube videos. We do have a channel. We're celebrating 10,000 subscribers.
Hang on,
today.
let me fix it then. Here. Let me just fix it for everyone. There we go. How's this? Is that all right for your feedback? There we go. I've taken it into account. Don't worry.
Now it's good.
Fixed. All right, good. I'm glad. That's what we needed. All right, so let's have a look who's next then.
Zooming on Fiscus only. Yes, yes.
Right, so what do we think of 7?
I can't see. There we go. Perfect. Cool. What do I think of 7? 7's a really tough one, man, because I genuinely. So he's so good in pub games.
Yeah,
and
hands
he
down.
had a huge, because you let a 7 just farm all game, which most pub games will just let you do. Like, I think the big problem with pub games at the moment is that people don't know how to end the game, and they don't realize when they're strong enough to end the game, and when they need to group up and just like take advantage of that, right? Essentially, of that power that they have in the mid game to just start taking walkers, start taking base guardians, start taking shrines, which is why 7 get the point where you see them like at 73,000 souls and just obliterating your team. Like, he's really good, and I'd probably honestly put him between Paradox and Ivy. I'd even put him ahead of Paradox. I put 7 ahead of Paradox in decent, which would. Yeah.
All right. I think that's fair because, again, I do agree with you in the sense that I think 7 right now, for the way we're doing this tier list, which obviously, you know, is your competitive games, you're expecting things to be on the shorter side. You know what I mean? Like the higher up you go right now in terms of the higher MMR lobbies into to actually like organize 6v6, what will become pro tier games of Deadlock, you're not going to last long enough for him to be incredibly viable. You know, he needs a bit more time. He needs longer in the oven. Then once he gets fully cooked, once he's farmed, he's incredible and he's an absolute monster. But again, I think in terms of his kit, in those games where they're over before the 60-minute mark, it's just not. It's not going to hit the same. He's not bad. Yeah. He's just not the best of the bunch.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to find that, like, because he gets online around about 30,000 souls, right? That's the problem.
Yeah.
And by the time you're there, a team's already had like the entirety of your base. So it's tough. It's tough for 7. I think he can be strong, but he's in that same tier with Paradox, right?
Yeah.
You need a really good player to make him work. And even then, Paradox can find more of that usefulness in the early game. But yeah, Shiv. Did Shiv receive a few changes? He must have done.
Shiv did. So serrated knives have been fixed where previously they were hitting targets behind walls. So again, just an interp issue similar to Paradox. Slice and dice base damage, that's gone down from 125 to 105. So 20 damage taken off of slice and dice. Bloodletting deferred damage cleared reduction is down by 10% from 40%, from 50% to 40%. And killing blow bonus damage from full range has been reduced from plus 25% to plus 20%, alongside tier 2 of killing blow increasing rage amp by 5%.
Yeah, I think I'd probably put Shiv between Hayes and Abrams in good tier. The slice and dice nerfs is quite large, especially for early game. 125 was so much damage on slice and dice, but 125 seems to be a sweet spot for Valve at the moment, where they introduce abilities that are meant to be a little bit harder to hit but do a lot of damage, like Splatter from Viscous. And again, for slice and dice, you got to get up close. So yeah, probably between Hayes and Abrams, I'd say, in good. No, I think I'd need to see him in action in comp play to get a good idea, essentially.
I mean, yeah, but like those changes don't strike me as making him incredibly unviable, and he was super viable. Again, though, it takes a good Shiv. You know what I mean? Like if you can get him rolling early, you can chain together with the assassinate. You can be a pain in the ass if you're able to, especially like in actual 6v6 deadlock, to be able to build into that, to get the executes off and give space for an execute, to get the cooldown reset, to do it again. Like his burst of damage to nuke teams is huge, you know? Yeah. So yeah, like I would agree. All right, Vindicta. Vindicta got a couple of changes, actually. Let's whip it up. Yeah, this was the interesting one. So you actually share the bonus souls that you earn from assassinates with the assisters now. It's shared between you, which is very interesting.
Vindicta, that change is actually massive in terms of being able to play like a roaming role, and then you're sharing that 600 souls between players every time you hit it. So it's a huge amount of souls bonus, right? The real question is whether that's worth bringing the Vindicta for, because they even reduced the stake duration from 0.75 to 0.5. Her base bullet damage reduced from 14 to 13. Crow got a lot of nerfs. The big one is that it reduces bullet armor by 6%, which is hard to get a hold of. Yeah, also the 20% more damage when getting a headshot is kind of huge, and that's for tournament play in particular. Like these players will be hitting those. But she's a Snowball character, and right now Snowball is the go-to, right? It's the go-to. I think I would put her in the good tier, and I'd put her behind Pocket, probably, maybe behind Lash. That's probably that's a controversial opinion, I'd say.
Behind Lash.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think if she's in the right hands, again, kind of similarly to Shiv in a sense where you have to have communication on point to maximize use from her. Yeah. Like, then yeah, it can be in the right hands. You obviously would need to stack ult first, get the assassinate ready to go so that you can farm purely off of ult. Hope you can do that in a short enough span of time that you can do it in the early game to make the most of it before a quick game of deadlock in that environment would be over. Yeah. But she is still pretty good as well. Like your disable is not bad, getting the stake off. Your actual harass with your damage output's not bad. Yeah. It's just the creating souls, which is the crazy thing, right? Like you can just, and now that they're shared, I mean, if you've seen Vindictas get ahead, you can see games where everyone is around about 11, 10k and Vindictas on 20k. Imagine that, but shared between all your teammates. Like, it's sort of a silly thing. I did wonder how it's going to work in this patch. I think that might make Vindicta really strong. And it'll be a subtle thing. People won't realize. They'll be like, why are we so far ahead, Vindicta? Yeah. So we'll see. No, exactly. If people don't read the patch notes, you're going to be suddenly like, when she's getting assassinates off and everyone's getting gold from it, you'll be like, huh, what's happening? Yeah. All right, Viscous. I'm just thinking. Let's have a look. Viscous. What's changed here? What have you done?
What have you done to my boy?
Bug fixes to the Gooman. Puddle Punch now correctly knocks people in the cube up in the air as well. So that's good. You can use that to your advantage. Puddle Punch now telegraphs an effect before it forms. Cool. Okay, some more visual understanding of how it's going to work when you're going up against a Viscous or playing as it as well. Base bullet damage reduced again, down from 14 to 13. Splatter damage also gets nerfed again, down from 110 to 100. Slight buffs to Goo Ball though. Turn rate's a little bit better, and the stun frequency of the cooldown is down from 1.5 to 1.25 seconds. So the stun frequency is a little bit better, and also the turn rate. He keeps getting nerfed for his damage, dude, on his actual like gun damage, mag size, splatter damage. It's two patch now in a row where Viscous keeps getting tuned down.
Yeah, I think I would probably put him. He used to be insta-picked here, honestly. He really did.
No, yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, he was mad strong before.
I don't know. I really don't know about Viscous anymore. We're coming back, don't worry, guys. We're just zoomed down while
they got to get used to it, bud.
No,
they got to get used to it. All right? I'm not going to take this anymore. You got to get used to it. If you can't handle the fact half the screen is cut off, then it's not for you. That's not the way we do things here at Dead Air.
Yeah, I don't know is probably a good place to put Viscous. I don't know after this patch. I mean, IDK makes it seem like I'm putting him in.
It sounds like he's like no one's gonna ever touch him. But like, I think if we are doing it more in the sense of I just don't know right now, then
I just don't know right now. I probably would put Viscous
in
here
there for now.
Yeah,
because like he could still be pretty damn strong, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll ask a good Viscous player later. But yeah, I think in tournament play he is really strong. But with these there's new stuff coming through for him, and the amount of nerfs he's received, I don't know where he sits, because there's other characters that have had improvements. So we'll see. Don't know, huh? Pro analysis post. I'm sorry, dude. Like,
go on then, Ace. List your thoughts for 2 hours, but type them out right now, line by line.
That's what I need. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a hard one on Viscous, and we will see where he does end up. I mean, if I was to realistically put him somewhere, put him in the good tier. I'd put him behind Pocket.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those where it's not as if it's like I have no idea. It's more just like he could be really viable.
Yeah.
If we are just going for a safety net, then like 100% he is still in good tier. Like, you want to move him up? Should we pop him in one of the actual tiers rather than him?
Yeah, put him behind Pocket. Put him behind Pocket.
All right, we can pop him in. We can drop him in. Who we got left? Warden, Wraith, and Yamato. All right, what do you reckon for a Warden?
Warden is definitely good tier. Picked so many games. I'd put him between Abrams and Infernus, personally. 2 tier final offer. True. Yeah, I think that's put him between Abrams and Infernus.
I was thinking about it for exactly. I think that is fair. Like again, I think like our insta picks for what it is. If you're basing this off of like you have a veto 2 hero bans, you get your first pick for your team. 100%, you're going to either take Dynamo, Kelvin, or Mo and Krill. That's still going to be the case. I think even in the games we'll cast tonight. Warden is strong, incredibly so. Like, his ult's really good. The way he works as a champ's really good. I feel like he can be very powerful in the right hands as well, and works well in team play.
Yeah, I think Warden sits there fine in good tier. I mean, he saw so much play in tournaments, and he's generally just a good character in terms of like his stamina reduction on Alchemical Flask, as well as just Binding Word being a really strong item in general, is pretty big. They did reduce his bullet growth, and the debuff duration from Alchemical Flask got reduced, but you got 50% bullet resistance to 2-second ult channels, so you can be a bit more aggressive at now, which is nice. We're down to our final 2.
We are, we got Wraith and Yamato. If people are asking as well, yes, there's a tournament tonight. We're streaming one half of the bracket
in collaboration with Deadlock Core. They're running their second Deadlock event, mostly featuring a lot of North American players. You got some of the old school NA names, some of the community teams as well, a mix of different players. I think it's a 16-team bracket, so 8 games on either side, 8 teams on either side, so 4 matches for either side of the bracket. We're going to be covering one half of the bracket with that. That's coming up at about midnight CEST. It's about 10:30 at the minute here, so 11 p.m. UK time. So once we wrap up with the podcast, that'll be following it. So you can always hang out. We'll probably shut down the YouTube stream to save the VOD. We can leave the stream here and then come back to it. But yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. So we'll probably finish up the tier list and then take a little bit of downtime, wrap up the podcast before that starts. But that's what's happening tonight. So there is some games that will be going on tonight as well, which should give us an idea. It's probably would be fun to have a look at this, kind of hypothesize what we expected to see. Right then, let's have a look. Yeah, we've got Wraith and Yamato as the last 2 that are left.
Wraith is in the same tier as Shiv and Hayes, I'd say. So I'd probably put behind Shiv and in front of Abrams. Just because she's very, very strong in terms of split pusher. Like her 1v1s are crazy good. I genuinely think that Wraith is also really strong in terms of just team fighting. Like tier 5 for telekinesis is crazy. In terms of just, well, tier 3, sorry, for ultimate is crazy in terms of like doing so much damage and having so much utility in a team fight. It's sort of looked down a lot. However, card trick damage reduced from 180 was very warranted, and spirit scaling from 1.2 to 1.5 was also really warranted. It's genuinely, it was a case where you had Wraiths running around with 3 cards after buying extra charge, just one-shotting people, which was sort of stupid. So,
yeah, card trick was mad strong. Like,
yeah. Spirit scaling increased from 1.2 to 1.5 though, so all those items that give like residual spirit are going to add quite a bit more damage to your card trick. So this means that they'll still be strong towards that mid game, but they're not going to be proccing so much damage as quickly. So yeah, it's in terms of Wraith, she's very, very strong. She deserves to be up there. And characters you can track, or players that can track really well, genuinely just rip to pieces players with Wraith, because not only does tracking mean you're pumping more bullets into someone else, it means you're also generating more cards, and that's the big thing.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair. Again, like they're not bad changes to. Also, the card projectiles actually spawning above the reticle rather than the left hand side as well could be a nice quality of life change for some players. Never really bothered me before in terms of where it is, but for the way it works, where it does just follow your crosshair, it might feel a little bit less disconnected for some people. We'll see. But yeah, again, like I think she's just very strong in terms of her kit, because she is someone that you send in. You get the surprise Wraith. We saw like the magic carpet engages in high tier games where you can use it as a bit of a surprise like engage. You get, especially at max level, like the ult offs, you get the multi AoE with a telekinesis. You stun like half the team. Suddenly everyone's just dumping damage. She just has, that Mo and Krill-esque disable ability, but can still get raw damage output out even whilst it's off, with the burst of damage from card trick and her actual gun as well, which even at base, like Wraith's gun is super strong. So yeah, I don't think she's going anywhere anytime soon. She's still damn good. Yamato then being the last option we have here for the tier list.
Probably ahead of Lady Geist in good. She's a good character. I've seen a lot of people building into gun Yamato now as well, which is very strong, but easily counterable, because that's our whole kit is just gun, where you just slap on some reduced fire rate. I mean, going up against Kelvin's, she gets ripped to pieces because 40% fire rate reduction on it just kills gun Yamato. Spirit Yamato with refresher, a bit better. And in general, I think Yamato can be a very, very strong hero. But is she better than everyone ahead of Viscus? I don't know. I think she's definitely up there in terms of one of the 6 picks you go for in a game. So boom. I don't have much to say about Yamato, honestly. I like the character. I think she's good. Ammo now scaling with spirit power is kind of cool, but she had a power slash damage reduced, and there's just a few things that changed as well. But the shadow transformation, bullet spirit resistance reduced from 55% to 40% was sort of big, because that changes how aggressive she can be, ulting at full HP into refresher, because you can still rip her to pieces down to low HP, and it not be the case where spirit lifesteal is going to keep topping her up as much.
All right, well, there it is. That's our competitive 6v6 tier list for Deadlock following the previous patch a couple days ago. That's how things are looking. I think it's pretty fair. I think that's a pretty overall summary. Room for debate on maybe a couple of them, but for the most part, I think
absolutely.
It's pretty standardized. Again, obviously, as well, that's the thing right now. A lot of it is hypothetical in the sense that if you're thinking of competitive 6v6 Deadlock, like you don't have that much of a benchmark in terms of games played and also different comps in terms of what teams are looking for. That's why some of them are far easier to call, like the Dynamo, Kelvin, Mo, and Krill, just by innately how these heroes work, their kit, they're so much further ahead because that's just, the building blocks you have of them. I think it does go to show, though, there's only a few characters that are really on that periphery of us thinking, oh, they're not super viable right now. And a lot of that just comes down to the nature of high-tier games ending so much quicker. You're looking at that cut-off being 15 to 20 minutes versus sort of 30 to 40 minutes, in which some of these characters that are further down might shine a lot more.
Yeah. Again, I think this is decent in terms of a tier list. I think it sets up where we want to be. And again, I'm excited for my opinions to change tonight when we get to actually see some teams play, because
that's why we want to do it now.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I agree with you. I think that's why we wanted to do it now, right? Because then it gives us an opportunity to change our minds following seeing the games today, or earlier,
later
if you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
After the fact, of course, for anyone that's listening on Spotify, following this has again been another very visual episode of the Dead Air podcast here on the 10K subscriber special, which I think now has become the 11K Twitter follower special. We're at like 10.9K. We're incredibly close.
Yeah, which is amazing. Thanks so much, guys. Again, we appreciate it. This is what we did this for, and doing this for you guys because we love you all. Thank you so much for following Dead Air on our journey to 10K. Maybe we go further. Who knows? We'd love to. And I hope that we both can just keep continuing covering Deadlock because we love the game. We love the community. Thank you.
It's good fun. It's good fun. We'll go back to the cameras. We'll wrap up for now for the podcast, then I think, and then we'll go to a bit of a waiting screen. Obviously, for anyone that wants to stick around for the games, if you are listening after this has already aired on Spotify, you're probably a bit late, but you can watch the VODs, of course. They'll be up at that point, future past viewer. But yeah, I think that's pretty damn good. It kind of gives you an overall summary of where we are in terms of what we're thinking with 6v6 Deadlock in terms of high-tier games. And there you go, mate. 10K, nice little Dead Air special. We had a live podcast.
We did.
Yeah. Should we roll the intro one more time, just so everyone can see the new intro?
Get the intro roll.
Here's the new intro, everyone, for the Dead Air podcast, if you missed it the first time. Damn. There you go. Isn't it cool? Isn't it cool? That's the new intro.
I do love it.
Yeah. It is damn good. It is damn good. Pretty sick.
Big fan.
Pretty sick, actually.
Thank you so much, Mustafa. We really appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is sick. I'm really hyped about that. It looks super cool. Yeah, there you go. Good. I'm glad everyone likes it. Glad everyone likes it. Hello.
But yeah, thank you so much, guys. The cat's in the room. We're all good. We're happy here. But I think we'll go to a little break before we wait for the next games, so we can have a bit of a chill out in between.
We've got the catster here. He'll be catstering all of the games. So yeah, you can go anywhere because there'll be about an hour or something before the games, guys. But if you'd like to stick around, of course, we are going to be covering the Deadlock Core 6v6 tournament. Isn't that right, Small? That is right.
That's right. The little guy himself. We appreciate him.
we'll be broadcasting those games. There'll be a lot of fun stuff here on the channel. But we'll see you in a little bit as we are going to go for a bit of a break. Any idea when there'll be updates about the October Red Bull tournament? Yes, there'll be tweets that will be going out soon, TM. We'll keep you updated about all that. S'more, don't eat stuff off my desk, please. There'll be updates about stuff like that will go out on the Discord and the Twitter. So I'd recommend following both of those things so you can find stuff if you need to know info about what's going on, what we're going to be doing. Twitter, Discord, that's always the best places. Damp's linked it there. So you can join the Deadheads and stay up to date with everything that we're going to be doing. That's by far the easiest way. But yeah, that's it for now. We'll be back in about an hour's time with a Deadlock Core 6v6 event. So I'm going to throw you guys over to a waiting screen for that, and we will see you in a little bit. Thank you so much for joining the Dead Air 10K subscriber double in and out special, brought to you by S'more the Cat. Bye-bye.